Chapter 690. No, this cub was even worse than that old man Xianxia. He was asking for permission with his mouth and then he kissed him directly. This was equivalent to shaking hands in a martial arts competition and then breaking the other party's hand. It was simply unethical. Especially after the kiss, he was so embarrassed that he could not raise his head. Those who did not know would think that this Hu did something to him. Xianxia was really embarrassed. He never thought that he would actually do such a thing like kissing a kitten. This went against the gentleman education he had received since he was young. Sob, sob. Sob, sob, sob. Just as the little boy wanted to dig a hole and bury himself in it, Xianxia came out after changing her clothes. The young girl had changed into a light blue and white sportswear. At first glance it looked a bit like a high school sportswear, but she looked like the school belle in it. Xianxia, why is your face so red? Do you have a fever? Xianxia's tone was worried. She wanted to check the temperature of his forehead, but Xianxia avoided her. I'm fine. The little boy was embarrassed. He was afraid that Xianxia would find out that he had secretly kissed the kitten. He stuttered a little. Sister, are you going out? Xianxia, yes, I'm going to climb the mountain with your uncle. We'll also dig some wild vegetables and pick some wild fruits or something. Xianxia's eyes lit up. Other than the kindergarten, his range of activities was at home. His parents were too busy and rarely took him out to play. Xianxia suddenly realized something. Then you should call me auntie. Otherwise, wouldn't the three of us mess up the seniority? The man's deep voice came from behind. Call me auntie. Xianxia's ears were a little hot. Don't talk nonsense. However, under his uncle's kind gaze, Xianxia shrank his neck and called out obediently. Auntie Xianxia. Now there was one more person who was embarrassed. Xianxia's thin lips curled up. This little boy was obviously more pleasing to the eye. He ruffled his hair. If you want to go and change your clothes. Xianxia could not wait. I'll go now. Xianxia changed his clothes as fast as he could and took the initiative to put a thermos cup, toilet paper, chocolate and other items into his small school bag. Could be said that he saved the adults a lot of trouble. Xianxia asked if she wanted to help him carry the backpack, but the little boy shook his head decisively. Auntie, I can do it myself. If you need it, I can carry it for you. The audience in the live stream was wailing. Sure enough, other people's children were different. Oh my God, how did you teach your child to be like this? Xianxia's ability to take care of himself is too strong. He doesn't look like a young master from a wealthy family at all. Why is Xianxia such a gentleman? Not only does my brother not help me carry my bag, but he always makes me carry his bag for him. If you don't take it, you're rolling on the ground and crying. Xiao Naofu also insisted on going, so Xianxia decided to bring it along with little Shiji. Someone commented in the live stream. Wow, this is like a family of 3 bringing a cat and a dog for an outing. Someone immediately retorted. Bullsh*t. They're clearly 2 dogs. You there? Xianxia doesn't deserve a name? Ha, what a joke. Is little Shiji our Xianxia dog? When the audience saw these comments, they were about to die of laughter. When they clicked on the personal homepages of the accounts that were defaming Xianxia, the netizens made an even more shocking discovery. Many of these people were actually Xianxia's sister. A term rose on the hot search list. #fandom's confusing behavior reward hashtag. Chapter 691. The entry originated from a Joker blogger. She summed up the confusing behavior of fans in the entertainment circle in recent days. For example, a certain popular starlet sneaked into her fan group and was kicked out. A certain new rapper and anti-fans had hundreds of posts. The most hilarious ones were the actions of Spicy Tutu and Xianxia sisters. Raising money for investment, illegal fundraising, reporting, receiving help. Sao Rui, you haven't announced anything yet. So what if you're anti-fans? As fans were even more anti-fans. Among them, Spicy Tutu reported the female Durban and won a little red flower from the internet police. She and Xianxia sisters claimed that Xianxia was a gigolo, and some even expressed that they hoped that Xianxia would take care of them too. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, it received more than 1,000 comments. I've laughed my head off so many times. Spicy Tutu is so cute. Not only is she Buddhist, she's also so silly. Xianxia sisters didn't used to be like this. Why do I feel like she's been assimilated by Spicy Tutu? Of course, the Xianxia sisters would never admit that they were as silly as Spicy Tutu. Don't remind me, we're very aloof, okay? As for Xianxia, I guess I'll just make do with her. Umph. At the manor. After packing up, Xianxia and the others were ready to set off with the production crew. As soon as they walked out of the door, they heard a loud and hurried shout. Xianxia, hold on. Is he looking for Sister E? Everyone turned to look at him and was stunned. The person was wearing an old blue Daoist robe with his long hair tied up in a crown. He carried a peachwood sword on his back and held a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He looked like an immortal. Of course, that was if one ignored the fact that he was carrying a big iron pot. The netizens watching the live stream were confused. This scene seems familiar. It reminds me of Sanmao bro. Hades. So what if you're carrying a big bowl? Look at how big his pot is. Xianxia was also very confused, but she still nodded politely. Hello, may I know what you're looking for me for? Daoist Ren was excited. Little friend Xianxia, I'm here to ask for your guidance. Xianxia. Everyone. Viewers in the livestream room. As the saying goes, fellow disciples are friends. Little friend Xianxia, although we've only met by chance today, in my heart, I've already treated you as an old friend of mine for many years. When it came to being thick-skinned, Daoist Ren was invincible. In the livestream, this person is a scammer? Could it be an actor hired by the production team? I just like small plots without a script. If there was a script, I wouldn't want to read it. That's right, that's right. Are we just watching this for fun? Look at the beauty, look at the food, and look at the beautiful scenery. Li Jianyu-san, don't forget your original intention. In the next second, Daoist Ren cupped his hands towards Xianxia. There's no precedence when it comes to learning. I'm here today for no other reason than to ask little friend Xianxia to give me some pointers on the art of talismans. Everyone. What the hell? Talismans? Was he referring to the messy things that Xianxia had drawn? Xianxia, you're being too serious. How could I give you pointers? I'm just drawing casually. At this moment, a few more cars drove over in the distance. Professor Zhou got out of the car first, then helped an old man with white hair, followed by a few young people who looked like students. Miss Xianxia, please forgive me for taking the liberty of disturbing you. Professor Zhou suppressed his surging emotions. On behalf of the Nanqing Historical and Cultural Research Institute, we'd like to ask for your guidance. Chapter 692. Professor Zhou, nice to meet you. Li Jianyu stepped forward to receive him. Didn't you say that you would be coming tomorrow? The Research Institute had indeed contacted the production team, but the appointed time was tomorrow. The production team felt that this was not only a good thing for Xianxia, but also a good way to educate the public about history and culture. Hence they readily agreed. Professor Zhou said in surprise, well, I'm the one who can't wait to meet Miss Xiang. The gray-haired old professor next to him spoke up. The old man was old and his back was a little hunched, but his eyes were full of wisdom. Please forgive me if I've disturbed you in any way. Teacher Ji. Although her memory was a little fuzzy, Xianxia still recognized him. When I was in university, I had the honor of attending one of your lectures. In the live stream, if you don't understand, just ask. Are these two people very powerful? Of course. History is the ace major of Nanqing University, and Professor Zhou is the ace professor of the history department. The old man next to him is his Ph.D. advisor, Mr. Ji, who is currently a leading figure in the academic world. Everyone was even more surprised after learning the identities of the two. Such a powerful figure actually asked for Xianxia's advice? Oh my god. Just how impressive is Sister E? Due to the sudden visit of Daoist Ren, Mr. Ji and Professor Zhou, the matter of going up the mountain had to be put on hold for the time being. Everyone returned to the living room where Xianxia personally brewed some tea and sat down obediently on the sofa. Shui sat next to her, and the two of them looked like super straight-A students who were waiting for the teacher to ask them questions. They were calm and composed. Mr. Ji and Professor Zhou were excellent at maintaining their composure. The two of them slowly tasted Xianxia's tea and their eyes lit up. Good tea. Daoist Ren couldn't help but ask, Xianxia, where did you learn talismans from? Xianxia naturally couldn't disclose the fact that she had transmigrated, so she casually said, I don't have a master, I'm just doing my own research for fun. Daoist Ren didn't continue on this topic, thinking that Xianxia must have had her own opportunities. He immediately praised, you're really a genius. A genius. Genius. In the cultivation plane, Xianxia had seen too many amazing talisman crafting geniuses. She had always thought that her standard was very average. Now she was embarrassed by the compliments. You flatter me. No, these are all words from the bottom of my heart. I've studied talismans for several decades and I've only scratched the surface. Little friend Xianxia is so young but she has such accomplishments. If she was in the ancient times she would definitely be someone who would establish a sect and become an immortal. The bullet screen was filled with laughter. The Taoist priest is too good with words. It is recommended to publish the book on the spot. There were also people who retorted, attain the Tao? Aren't you praising him too much? That's too much of an exaggeration. It's obviously self-directed. No, you can become an immortal just by scribbling a few scribbles? This person must have read too many Xianxia novels. At this moment, Professor Zhou said, have you heard of the Wuxia civilization? Shi Sui said, are you referring to the ancient Wuxia kingdom? I don't know much about history and I only know some general knowledge. There are no records of the ancient Wuxia kingdom in history books, but there is currently a school of thought in the academic world that believes that the ancient Wuxia kingdom really existed. That's right. Mr. G's voice was loud like a bell. At the mention of academics, his entire aura seemed to have changed. There is currently a lack of evidence to prove the existence of the ancient Wuxia kingdom, but I think that Miss Xiang's talismans can give us a glimpse of the prosperous civilization of that time. Chapter 693. His words caused everyone to fall silent for a few seconds. Even the comments in the live stream began to dwindle, followed by a large row of question marks. What the F***CK? Ah, history buffs are here. Can this really prove the existence of the Wuxia civilization? If that's the case, it'll be a great revolution for history, no, the entire humanities. In the living room, Professor Zhou added, at present we generally believe that the most prominent characteristics of the Wuxia civilization are closely related to witchcraft, divination, and sacrifice. According to the records of various eras, talismans as a cultural symbol have also changed over time. All of this is traceable, but this clue is missing the most crucial link. Miss Xiang's talismans can help us complete this closed loop. Xianxia was stunned. Something seemed to have flashed through her mind, but it disappeared too quickly and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. Professor Zhou, I'm very honored to be able to contribute a little to your research. What can I do to help? Can you provide us with some talismans? As well as a video of you drawing talismans. Of course, in addition to a certificate of honor, we're willing to provide a certain amount of monetary subsidies. Xianxia said, forget about the subsidies, can you give me a certificate or a little red flower? Huh. Both Professor Zhou and Mr. G laughed and looked at Xianxia with more admiration in their eyes. Look, what a good child. Not only is she diligent and motivated, but she also values money. Xianxia took out the talisman paper and cinnabar, and tried her best to draw all the types of talismans in her mind. Thus, everyone watched helplessly as the little girl continuously drew over 100 talismans with her own strength without stopping even once. The students brought by Professor Zhou were recording a video at the side. While recording, they were amazed by Xiangxi's memory. The drawing method of each talisman was very complicated, and mistakes could be made with the slightest carelessness. However, Xianxia did it smoothly from beginning to end without making a single mistake. That was enough to show how powerful her memory was. After drawing hundreds of talismans, Xiangxi's hands were still very steady, which meant that her concentration had reached a terrifying level. If such a person were to engage in scientific research, her achievements would definitely be immeasurable. The students looked at each other in dismay. All of them had long faces. Lass, what kind of rookies are we? Time passed. Swish. After finishing the last stroke, the girl exhaled softly. She drew all the types of talismans she could think of. She should be able to help Professor Zhou and the others a little, right? I'm done. Xianxia turned around and asked the students, have you recorded everything clearly? Is there anything that needs to be recorded? The few of them were stunned at first, then they reacted. It's done. Very clear. We even took pictures from different angles. Before they came, they were still a little prejudiced against Xianxia. After all, it was easy for a female celebrity to give people the impression that she relied on her looks to make a living. But Xiangxi's talent and character had conquered them. Gentleness could be seen in the details. If he was lucky enough to be friends with her, it would definitely be very comfortable getting along with her. Professor Zhou and the others thanked him profusely as if they had received a treasure. They were in a hurry to go back and do their research, so they proposed to leave first. Before leaving, Mr. Ji broke free from Professor Zhu's support, faced Xiangyi, and with much difficulty he bowed. Miss Xiang, thank you for your selfless dedication. I'm proud of the country for having a young person like you. Chapter 694. He pulled out his peachwood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The live stream viewers. Oh my god, can he really fly on a sword? In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Daoist Ren's head and he let out a shrill scream. Ouch, it hurts. Everyone, Li Jinyu said cheekily, don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Daoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable. The livestream viewers, talking nonsense with a straight face. Ha, Daoist Ren is my laughing point today. Daoist Ren, this sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself. Everyone laughed heartily, and the nervousness from before vanished like smoke in thin air. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xiangyi tried hard to hold back her laughter. Daoist Ren were preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while? Daoist Ren had yet to recover from the blow. He muttered to himself several times, this is impossible, but when he heard Xiangyi's words he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xiangyi, Shui, and Shuryu. Daoist Ren frowned. It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with two powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast? Xiangyi, I'll go with you. Shui? Shuryu? The expressions of the Sure uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. Daoist Ren, have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette. Huh, Shui is being treated as a gigolo again. Shuryu, it's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is. In short, Daoist Ren insisted on going together. Xiangyi and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manor, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today Xiangyi and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xiangyi plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Shuryu to play with. Shuryu thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Shui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. Uncle, I have it but you don't. The next second, Shui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too? Xiangyi said without hesitation. Sure. Of course, she had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Shui. Shui took them and smiled. Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them, Xiangyi said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Shui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Shuryu. The cold and handsome man, whose bone structure was so good that there was nothing to nitpick about, said seriously, See? I have 2 little rabbits. Chapter 695. He pulled out his peachwood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The live stream viewers. Oh my god, can he really fly on a sword? In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Daoist Ren's head and he let out a shrill scream. Ouch, it hurts. Everyone, Li Jinyu said cheekily, don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Daoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable. The livestream viewers, talking nonsense with a straight face. Ha, Daoist Ren is my laughing point today. Daoist Ren, this sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself. Everyone laughed heartily, and that bit of nervousness from before vanished like smoke. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xianxia tried hard to hold back her laughter. Daoist Ren were preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while? Daoist Ren had yet to recover from the blow. He muttered to himself several times, this is impossible, but when he heard Xianxi's words he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xianxia, Shui and Shiyu. Daoist Ren frowned. It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with two powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast? Xianxia, I'll go with you. Shui? Shiyu? The expressions of the Shi uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. Daoist Ren, have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette. Huh, Shui is being treated as a gigolo again. Shiyu, it's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is. In short, Daoist Ren insisted on going together. Xianxia and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manner, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today Xianxia and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xianxia plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Shiyu to play with. Shiyu thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Shui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. Uncle, I have it but you don't. The next second, Shui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too? Xianxia said without hesitation, sure. Of course, she had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Shui. Shui took them and smiled. Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them, Xianxia said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Shui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Shiyu. The cold and handsome man had an impeccable physique. He said in a serious tone, do you see? I have 2 little rabbits. The order of the 2 chapters had been changed. It was time to refresh. Chapter 696. Shiyu was speechless. The little Shota was speechless. He used to idolize his uncle, but who could have told him that his uncle was so childish? The livestream viewers were aghast. Ingdi, you don't do anything related to humans at all. You can't be too Shui, you're even bullying children. It's clearly the Shi family showing off to each other. It's obvious that they're just a plastic family. Unwilling to be outdone, Shiyu puffed up his cheeks and said, I have one too. Shui smiled and said, I have 2. Shiyu exclaimed, sister gave it to me first. Shui continued, I have 2. Shiyu was speechless. I'm so tired. Showing off to his little nephew was no longer enough to satisfy a certain Ingdi. Thus he locked his gaze on the camera. The livestream viewers were speechless. They suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough. The man got closer to the camera and his handsome and noble face was magnified. Without the enhancement of any beauty filter, his skin was still cold and pale. When he smiled it was bewitching. This is a little rabbit that Sister E made for me. Shui raised his left hand and then his right. This is also a little rabbit that Sister E made for me. Isn't it cute? Everyone at the scene was speechless. The live stream viewers were speechless. There are 2 trees in front of my house. One is a jujube tree and the other is also a jujube tree. Ingdi must be a contemporary literary hero. Is this man really 27 years old? He's so childish. You guys are luring the dog in to be killed. If I'm guilty, the law will punish me, not slap me in the face with dog food. Suddenly, Xianxi's surprised voice came from not far away. There are mushrooms. Looking in the direction of the voice, they saw the little girl standing under the shade of a tree and waving in the direction of the crowd. Xianxia walked closer with his long legs. Perhaps because it had just rained, there were many mushrooms growing nearby, spreading into a large area. Xianxia quickly identified which ones were edible and which were poisonous and told everyone to pick them separately. Even Yu gave him a small basket so that the child could feel the joy of labor. This was a very new experience for Yu. The little boy huffed and puffed as he picked them very seriously. Xianxia vividly told the audience about several common ways to make mushrooms. While she was talking, Daoist Ren's loud voice came from beside her. Gulp. Xianxia looked over. Daoist Ren said awkwardly, "Well, I was in a hurry on the way so I ate a boxed lunch on the train. Xianxia, when you started talking about food I got hungry." Xianxia didn't say anything. Her expression was solemn as she stared at Daoist Ren. Seeing that she didn't say anything, someone in the live broadcast room suddenly picked on her. "Is this how you treat your guests?" "That's right, Ren Daoda came all the way here. Isn't treating him to a meal the most basic social etiquette?" Daoist Ren is talking to her and she's ignoring him? Is there something wrong with her? Is she getting arrogant because she's popular? The group of people was filled with righteous indignation. In the next moment the camera slowly switched and many people screamed in front of the screen. "Ah!" Through the high-definition camera, the crowd saw that on the tree behind Daoist Ren, a snake had climbed up a mountain at some point. The audience in the live broadcast room instantly went crazy. F***CK. This is a F***king venomous snake. F***CK. I was so scared that I dropped my tablet. It's over, it's over. This snake is super venomous and fast. Is the production team going to die here? Chapter 697. Xianfeng's real name was King Cobra. It was ferocious and had quick reflexes. Most importantly, it was highly venomous and was one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. The scene was so quiet that one could hear the wind and no one dared to make a sound. Even the experienced cameraman Lao Zhang's hands couldn't help but tremble. Who wouldn't be afraid? It was a venomous snake. They might even lose their lives here. Daoist Ren had his back to the tree and because of his perspective, he was the only one who didn't understand what was going on. He even shamelessly discussed the topic of freeloading with Xianxia. "Xianxia, it's getting late. I can't catch the high-speed train with my old bones. Can I stay for a simple meal?" "Don't worry. I won't freeload. I'm willing to teach you the unique swordsmanship of Qingshui Temple. It's the ultimate technique of my temple. If it were anyone else, Daoist Ren wouldn't teach them even if they were offered money. However, Xianxia was different. She had selflessly taught him the talisman, so he naturally had to return the favor. The viewers in the live stream were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe. Their typing was trembling. "Ah, Daoist Ren, shut up. I'm so scared that Xianfeng will bite you first. Oh my god, I'm going to cry. What should we do? It's just climbing a mountain, how could there be such an accident? I've already called the police and the fire department, forestry bureau and zoo rescue. I hope they can make it in time. However, I think everyone is in danger. At least 1 or 2 people have to stay behind to hold Xianfeng back so that the others can escape unscathed." Anyone who had compassion in their hearts was secretly praying at this moment, hoping that everyone in the program team would be safe and sound. However, even at this time there were still people who were quick-witted. "Doesn't Xianxia know how to draw talismans? She should draw a talisman to make the snake go away. She must be stupid, right? No way." Such remarks easily aroused the anger of the crowd. How could he say such things at a time like this? He was undoubtedly starting a war. The hot-tempered netizens directly spat out vulgarities. Even the most Buddhist Spicy Tutu was so angry that she started spitting. Daoist Ren saw that Xianxia didn't respond for a long time. Combined with the reactions of the others, he vaguely understood something. His eyesight was very good. Through Xiangyi's bright doe eyes he saw his own reflection and the figure that was a few meters long behind him. Shua. Daoist Ren broke out in cold sweat and his legs couldn't help but tremble. The atmosphere at the scene turned cold for a moment. Before anyone could come up with a countermeasure, the snake slowly flicked out its tongue as if it was preparing to hunt. This was simply one disaster after another. No one dared to act rashly. Their eyes and hearts were filled with despair. Daoist Ren gritted his teeth and hardened his heart. "You guys go first. I'll hold this beast back." Tingshui Guan was on the mountain. He had dealt with snakes before and he practiced martial arts all year round. No matter what, he was stronger than these unarmed young people. In the live stream, the Taoist priest is so nice. Wu Daoist priest, you must survive. I will definitely go to your monastery to burn incense. Being willing to stay at a time like this is enough to show Daoist Ren's benevolence. Unlike some artists who are so awesome when they're drawing talismans, they're good at pretending to be dead. At this moment, Guoshanfeng arched his body and looked like he was about to launch an attack. Xianxia, who had been silent all this while, finally found the right opportunity. The girl's voice was as clear as the sound of nature. She said calmly, "Daoist priest, lend me your sword." Daoist Ren was dumbfounded. "Sword? The one I have? No, it's just a peachwood sword." Chapter 698. Be it the staff at the scene or the audience watching the livestream, they were all dumbfounded. Sister Yi wants to borrow my sword? Is she going to challenge Guoshanfeng one-on-one? No way, no way, is Xianxia trying to make me laugh to death? If it's an iron sword there might be hope, but a peachwood sword? I'm afraid it's too late. I give up. Why is she still pretending at a time like this? Aren't everyone's lives worth more than their own lives? Xianxia is so annoying. What can a peachwood sword do? Does she really think that Bai Xie's feudal crap is going to work? Can't she use her brain? Everyone kept criticizing, but the eyes of the Spicy Tutu fans lit up with hope. Maybe Sister Yi really has a way? Based on their understanding of Xianxia, she wouldn't have made such a request if she wasn't completely confident. Amidst the doubts of the crowd, Xianxia simply repeated, "Daoist priest, sword." Daoist Ren hesitated for a moment, but in the end he gritted his teeth and pulled out the peachwood sword before tossing it to Xianxia. "Forget it, I'm going to die anyway. Giving the sword to Xianxia might give me a chance to turn the tables." The moment he pulled out the sword, Guoshanfeng moved as well. His several-meter-long body moved at an incredible speed. Countless people in front of the screen closed their eyes. It's over, the first one to be bitten will definitely be Daoist Ren, who's the closest. The scene was so thrilling that some people at the scene couldn't help but scream. Immediately, it caused a chain reaction as panicked screams sounded one after another. "Ah! I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Help! Woo!" The audience, who could barely muster up the courage to continue watching the live stream, turned pale and broke out in cold sweat. This is scarier than a horror movie. This is a live stream of death. In the blink of an eye, a few seconds passed. To everyone's surprise, not only did Guoshanfeng not bite Daoist Ren, on the contrary, screech, hiss. Two fearful voices sounded one after another. The audience, who had closed their eyes, secretly opened their eyes, only to be instantly dumbfounded. The 7th inch of the mountain was actually nailed to the tree by Xiangyi's sword. To a snake, the 7th inch was the most fatal spot. It could be said that this sword strike had caused Guoshanfeng to lose most of his combat power. The live stream was silent for a few seconds before the comments exploded at a terrifying speed. WTF? What the F***CK did I see? Am I hallucinating, or are there special effects in the live stream room? I'm going to split it open. Wasn't that a peachwood sword? The peachwood sword pierced through the snake's body and stabbed into the tree? What is this operation? But more than that, there was a sentence that came from the bottom of everyone's heart. Sister Yi is awesome. Everyone at the scene was also stunned. Was the scene in front of him real? How strong was Sister Yi's arm strength when she stabbed the peachwood sword into the tree? Everyone thought that they were saved, but a sudden change occurred. "Sister, be careful." "Sure," you shouted. Guoshanfeng's 7th inch was nailed, but he did not lose all ability to move. His upper body straightened and he opened his fangs to bite Xianxia. No one expected such a turn of events. Sister Yi. It's over. It's really over. That was the unanimous thought in the minds of countless people. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi's body was as agile as a dragon. With a run-up, she leaped directly onto another tree. The girl's climbing speed was simply breathtaking. In an instant, she seemed to have activated the flash function in the game and easily avoided Guoshanfeng's attack. Chapter 699. Xiangyi's godly maneuver could be described as heavenly, and it was so beautiful that it made one's scalp tingle. Hiss, hiss. Guoshanfeng spat out his tongue, but it was all in vain as he couldn't reach Xiangyi at all. The others had long distanced themselves from her. The excruciating pain coming from his weak spot gradually made Guoshanfeng lose his strength. Soon Guoshanfeng curled up into a ball in exhaustion. Everyone at the scene was relieved. In the livestream the viewers were all dumbfounded. Is she climbing a tree or using qigong? Oh my god. Sister E is faster than a monkey when it comes to climbing trees. I got it. She nailed a snake with her sword and climbed a tree in a second. She learned some useless survival skills again. Sister E is god. Xianxia is a fake. I won't accept any rebuttals. Everyone at the scene looked at each other in disbelief. Such a thrilling and exciting crisis was actually resolved just like that? Recalling the scene that just happened, everyone was in disbelief. Is this a live stream of a variety show? Or is this a movie? Every scene was full of dramatic effects. Before anyone could react, they hurriedly replayed the scene. The girl's black hair was soft and she looked very obedient when she was still, but when she was really frozen, her posture was full of vigor, beautiful and valiant. Be it the strength of the sword, the angle, or the decisiveness and suaveness when she ran up the tree, they were all emotional and couldn't help but watch again and again. Not long after, professionals from the fire department and the forestry bureau arrived to deal with the aftermath. Xianxia jumped down from the tree with steady footsteps and a calm expression. She handed the peachwood sword back to Ren Daoren. Thank you, Daoist priest. Daoist priest Ren was in a daze. You're welcome. When he came back to his senses, he hurriedly said, Xianxia, I should be the one thanking you. Without you, Guoshanfeng would have bitten me and I would be dead. The tense atmosphere in the live stream dissipated, and everyone was even in the mood to joke around. Sister E. Come on, Xiaoren, I'll teach you what it means to fly with a sword. Sister E says she believes in science while showing us what metaphysics is. She's watching the live stream with a foreign friend. She now thinks that everyone in China knows martial arts. Rai smile. On the internet, someone edited the video of the confrontation between Xianxia and Guoshanfeng. As soon as it was uploaded, it received hundreds of thousands of likes. Related trending searches rose steadily, dominating the charts in minutes. Hashtag Sister E Riseby hashtag Xianxia Flying Immortal with one sword hashtag Chinese Kung Fu hashtag Xiang family's ancestral tree climbing skill hashtag Contemporary swordsman duel video hashtag Sister. Sure Yu immediately threw himself into Xianxi's arms. No matter how smart he was still a child physically and mentally. His eyes were completely red. Xianxia patted his back and comforted him softly. I'm fine. How are you? Are you scared? Sure Yu shook his head. After thinking for a while, he pursed his lips and nodded. He didn't want to lie in front of Xianxia. I'm sorry, if I had known that it would be so dangerous in the mountains, I wouldn't have brought you out, Xianxia said as she rubbed Shi Yu's hair. As soon as she looked up, she met Shi Sui's abyss-like gaze. In the next second she was pulled into Shi Sui's arms. He was so forceful that she felt as if he was going to melt her into his bones. At this moment, the number of online viewers of the Two Under One Roof livestream exceeded the 20 million mark in just a few minutes, breaking a small rule and setting another record. The Nanjing Historical and Cultural Research Institute also updated their status. Ms. Xianxia is invited to be a guest professor of our institute. Chapter 700. In an instant, the academic community was shocked. Generally, teachers would have to be in their 30s or 40s to be appointed as professors. Being a guest professor was an honorary title that didn't have as high requirements as being appointed as a professor. However, it was basically given to well-known scholars, entrepreneurs, inventors, and so on. They were often older too. But how old was Xianxia? 20 years old. A 20-year-old guest professor. There weren't many in the entire country. Netizens arrived at the scene one after another, and the comments section of this Weibo post became lively. Sister E is probably the youngest professor in history, right? No, her second brother, Xiang Li, was appointed as a professor at the age of 17 or 18. I'm kneeling down to him. Sister E isn't that good, but she's still very impressive. Our kid is so hardworking. Her old mother shed tears of relief and kicked OD, who can't even solve a second-grade math problem. I'm dying of laughter. She can be appointed as a professor just because she drew a few scribbles? Are the guest professors in the academic community so lousy? What do you mean by scribbles? If you're so good, go ahead. First they were in danger and then they were lucky enough to be rescued. The production crew's limbs were all weak. Just now they couldn't react at all and forced themselves to continue with the live stream. After being rescued, everyone didn't even have the strength to hold the equipment. The live stream ended at the scene where Shui hugged Xianxia tightly. At the scene, Xianxia said softly, "Shui, don't be afraid, we're safe now." As a result, the young girl felt the hands on her waist tighten even more. The man lowered his eyes, his emotions difficult to discern. Xianxia thought that he was angry and patted the man on the back. "I wasn't impulsive. I weighed the pros and cons before making up my mind. I'm almost 90% sure that I can get rid of that snake." She had been in danger too many times in the past, and even after returning to this world for so long, her physical and mental instincts were still there. Xianxia didn't think that today's danger was anything special. The man's hoarse voice sounded beside her ear. "I'm not angry." After a pause he said, "Our sister Yi did very well." Xianxia was a little happy to be praised by the person she loved. She rubbed herself against his chest. She seemed to be acting spoiled. Shui gently rubbed the back of the girl's neck. His long and narrow eyes were filled with ruthlessness and malice. He was thinking about what Xianxia had gone through in the past year. Did he suffer a lot? Suffered a lot of grievances? A lot of tears? Such a nice little rabbit, he didn't dare to think too deeply about it. Li Jinyu rested for a while, rubbed his face with his hands and shouted, "Everyone cheer up. It's getting late and it gets dark quickly in the mountains. Let's hurry down the mountain and go back to eat something warm. It's my treat tonight." Everyone was still in a state of shock. The word treat didn't cause any waves and they numbly packed up their things. "Oh," the girl's sweet voice entered everyone's ears. "The weather is so hot. The ducks at home must have gotten heatstroke. Let's go back and cook a duck. If they get heatstroke, won't we get heatstroke after eating it? Hey, what's there to be afraid of? Just eat it with Isatis indigotica. I'm calling you an expert. Even Master Fong and the others will praise this dish." The eyes of the people who were like walking corpses suddenly lit up. Even the pace of their journey had become much lighter. The professional rescue workers in charge of the aftermath swallowed their saliva. The ducks were so greedy. Cough, so miserable. Chapter 701. Although the staff members were carrying equipment, they walked at the front. On the other hand, Shui carried Shiryu with one hand and held Xianxia with the other. The three of them walked at the back. Shiryu's little face was pale. He was a child after all. At first he did not want Shui to carry him. But not long after, he was so tired that he fell asleep with his arms around his uncle's neck. His thick and long eyelashes cast a shadow, soft and obedient. The little boy was so cute that Xianxia could not help but take a few more glances at him. Shui's expression did not change. She turned Shiryu's little head to her other shoulder. "Xianxia, watch the road," the man reminded her in a low voice. Xianxia muttered softly, "Stingy." "Ahem, little uncle said that he will come over tonight. He will be so happy to see Shiryu." Little Uncle Xiangfeng was famous for liking children. Unfortunately, he had been single since birth and could only take care of other people's cute children. Even after such a thrilling experience, Shui's shirt was still neat and tidy. However, she took off her gold-rimmed glasses. Without the glasses blocking her peach blossom eyes, the visual impact was too strong. He said in a muffled voice, "Do you like Shiryu very much?" The sun was setting in the west and the evening wind was gentle. Xianxia's eyes curved into crescents. "Boyfriend, are you jealous? Or are you jealous of a child?" Shui lowered his long eyelashes and was silent for a few seconds. Then he said, "Yes." Pfft. Xianxia could not help but laugh. She explained helplessly and amusedly, "Liking Shiryu is different from liking you. I think Shiryu is very much like you. When I see him, I always think about what you were like when you were young." After all, the two of them were 7 years apart. Xianxia had missed his childhood. In her impression, Shui was already a calm and gentle big brother next door when she first met him. Therefore it was difficult for her to imagine Shui when he was young. Shiryu's appearance made up for this regret. "Are you curious?" Shui's voice was clear and pleasant. "When I was young, I didn't seem to be cute or likable at all." Xianxia retorted, "Of course not. You must be the cutest kid in the world." Shui chuckled and changed the topic. "What's Yaya going to do? Roast duck? Braised duck?" Those unbearable and dark years were not worth mentioning. There was no need for her to know. When it came to food, Xianxia became spirited and started counting the menu with her small hands. Roast duck is definitely a must. The duck rack can be fried and then we can make braised duck neck, braised duck wings and duck blood and vermicelli soup. The thin rays of sunlight fell on his back, elongating his shadow. He was going home. 2 hours later, the live stream of Two Under One Roof was opened, and the number of viewers who flooded in almost caused the server to explode. Other than the loyal fans, there were also many newcomers. I'm here because of your reputation. Sister, teach me. I want to learn swordsmanship. Can anyone answer me how good is Xianxi's combat skills? If you don't know, just ask. Isn't this a martial arts show? Why are you cooking now? In the kitchen, Xianxia had her hair tied up in a bun, and her skin was as fair as snow. She was leisurely scooping out a large spoonful of braised duck meat from the pot. The camera zoomed in and gave her a close-up. The duck neck, duck wings and duck collarbone had all been braised to a crisp, fragrant and spicy state. It was as if the meat would be separated from the bones with just a little bit of force. Gulp. The new fans were in a daze. This. Why is my mouth not listening to me? Chapter 702. The impact of the braised food was strong enough. However, this was just the beginning. The new fans watched helplessly as Xianxia turned on the oven again. The roast duck was roasted to a caramel color, and the fat sizzled under the high temperature as it dripped onto the roasting pan. The new fans were going crazy. Immediately after, Xianxia fried the duck rack and cooked duck blood and vermicelli soup. It was a complete duck feast. The girl's movements were clean and neat, and her coordination skills were amazing. Multitasking was a basic skill, and she didn't seem flustered while cooking several dishes at the same time. In the live stream, I'm so hungry, but I just ate. Isn't Xianxia a sword immortal? Aren't sword immortals supposed to be otherworldly? Why is she so proficient in cooking? Forget about being a sword immortal. What the hell is a sword immortal? Our sister E is just an ordinary super straight A student, god of cookery, folk music big shot, traditional Chinese medicine expert, talisman genius, tree climbing genius, magical girl. You have already mastered the essence of the common language. The countless new fans in front of their screens were dumbfounded. However, there were also countless new fans who couldn't help but click on the yellow and blue apps. All of a sudden, orders for braised duck neck, roast duck and duck blood and vermicelli soup skyrocketed across the country. Not long after, the livestream was full of complaints. F***ck. A certain black duck store is sold out. I've already paid for my order, but the boss called me and told me to cancel it. He said that there's no duck supply today. Oh my god. Why is it so difficult to eat duck? It's so hard to get a duck. Li Jinyu reluctantly spent a huge sum of money and ordered takeout for the staff so that everyone could take turns eating. However, everyone was eating absent-mindedly. They were all obviously waiting for Xianxi's duck. When the girl called out, it was no exaggeration to say that everyone was so excited that it was as if they were celebrating the new year. The duck is here, the duck is here. It's the duck. It smells so good, I can smell it. In the living room, Daoist Ren had gotten himself a cattail hassock from somewhere and was sitting cross-legged on the floor meditating. He had the posture of a peerless expert. Daoist Ren's lips curled into a contemptuous smile when he heard the commotion. Nothing more than that. Even if it was a delicacy, it could only satisfy one's appetite. Someone passed by him and urged, "Master, please stop meditating. Otherwise the ducks will be gone soon." Daoist Ren opened his eyes. His gaze was like a torch. He flicked his horsetail whisk and said, "You young people are as kind as water. Water benefits all living things but does not compete. It deals with the evils of the masses and is close to the Tao." The man was dumbfounded. What are you trying to say? Daoist Ren, let nature take its course, follow your heart's desires and do nothing. Do you understand? As expected of the Taoist priest, I'm ashamed of my inferiority to your spiritual realm. The viewers in the livestream were stunned. Is the Daoist priest some kind of Daoist master? These words, if you think about it carefully, they're extremely thoughtful. Kindness like water. Follow your heart's desires. Thank you, Daoist priest. I feel like I've comprehended something. In the next second, Xianxia poked her head out of the kitchen. Daoist priest, your pot is ready. Daoist Ren, okay. The large pot on Daoist Ren's back was now filled to the brim. At the bottom was the braised food, in the middle were several large pieces of duck rack and fried mushrooms, and at the top was a roast duck roll with shredded cucumber, shredded onion and sweet sauce. Everyone. Faster thief. Chapter 703. So it's not that you don't want to fight for it, but you've already taken it all. What a ruthless person. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, Daoist Ren didn't seem to feel guilty at all. He calmly and leisurely stepped forward and steadily picked up the big pot. He said politely, Xianxia, you're too polite. You've put in too much. It's too heavy, I can't hold it anymore. Everyone was speechless. Look at how skillful you are, you can probably handle another pot. Xianxia was still smiling. She brought out a large bowl of duck blood and vermicelli soup and suggested to Daoist Ren, I think it would be good to change it to a double-flavored pot. It can also be filled with soup and porridge, so there's no need to worry about the flavors between the dishes. Daoist Ren's body trembled as if he had been enlightened. He stood on the spot and said, It can actually be done like that. Everyone was speechless. Daoist Ren, those who don't know better would think that you guys are discussing cultivation. Who would have thought that you guys are talking about carrying a pot? And Sister E, you're too indulgent. What double-flavored pot? If you want to carry a pot, you should at least carry 4 or 9 palaces. The dining table was filled with a sumptuous dinner. Sure Yu's back was straight and his sitting posture was upright, like a gentleman's etiquette textbook. However, the little boy's eyes were already glued to the duck. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat. Xianxia placed a bowl of soup in front of him and pinched his little face. Sure Yu, is there anything else you want to eat? Sure Yu shook his head. Then try it first to see if it's to your liking. If you want to eat something else, let me know, okay? Sure Yu nodded. Xiang Feng had just returned not long ago. He leaned back in his chair in enjoyment and shook his legs as he smelled the aroma. Little Yu, eat more. Boys can only grow taller if they eat more. Only by climbing trees can they climb faster. The bullet screen of the live stream was filled with joy. Mr. Xiang, don't lead the children astray. No, you've misunderstood, Mr. Xiang. Climbing trees is an escape skill. Mr. Xiang is doing this for the children's future. Climbing trees is not just an escape skill. Didn't you see that Sister E used it as a combat skill? I strongly suggest that our country should include tree climbing into the compulsory education system. Shi Sui glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. She saw through the child's thoughts and said lightly, You can eat now. The food under Shi Yu's table shook excitedly because of her words. He picked up his chopsticks, picked up a small piece of meat from the braised duck neck and put it into his mouth. Boom. In an instant, the rich taste of sweet, spicy, fresh, fragrant, and numbing attacked the little Shota's tender taste buds. His black and white eyes were wide open, and he seemed to have forgotten to chew, not knowing what to do with it in his mouth. In this world, there was actually such delicious food. Shi Yu's parents had a light palate and mainly ate vegetarian food. Shi Yu rarely ate meat, let alone spicy food. Today's bite had opened the door to a whole new world for him. Xianxia and Xiang Feng, one on the left and one on the right, served the little boy food and soup. Taking care of others was probably an instinct of the Xiang family. Spoiling their young was even more of an instinct. Thus, in a trance, Shi Yu experienced the feeling of happiness that was described in the cartoon. The uncle and nephew of the Xiang family even had a friendly discussion. Children are actually quite easy to take care of. Yeah, who said it's hard to take care of children? I've never met a child that's hard to take care of. The livestream audience. Please use this method on me. Chapter 704. The pop-up comments immediately turned into a large-scale family reunion. Daddy, sister. I'm the long-lost baby of your Xiang family. I'm the most difficult kid to take care of in the entire universe. Give me an address, I'll send myself to you right away. Don't you guys feel embarrassed calling me daddy all the time? Don't you know that people need face and tree bark? Grandpa, take care of me. Under the meticulous care of the Xiang uncle and nephew for the first time in his life, Shi Yu ate to his heart's content. In the end, the little boy ate until his belly was round and round. While burping, he couldn't help but drink a few mouthfuls of duck blood and vermicelli soup. Xiang Feng led him to take a shower, then turned around and asked Shi Sui, I'm going to take this little brat for a swim after the shower. Daoist priest Shui, are you guys coming? Daoist priest Ren was extremely thick-skinned. Exercising after meals is really good for health. Before Shui could respond, the pop-up comments in the livestream room had already gone crazy. The manor was big enough to have both an outdoor and an indoor swimming pool. Shui glanced at Xianxia. The little girl was lowering her head and drinking the soup spoonful by spoonful, obediently and softly. Hearing their conversation, Xianxia raised her head and met Shui's eyes. She blinked her doe eyes and asked, Uncle Daoist priest, do you want anything to drink? I'll bring you some water later. Whatever. Xiang Feng dragged Shui out. Although Daoist priest Ren was thick-skinned, his EQ was high, so he followed with a smile. Only Shui and Xianxia were left in the living room. The cameraman was not there, but the fixed camera in the living room was running and subtle sounds could be heard. Thump, thump. An ambiguous atmosphere was brewing uncontrollably, and the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by several degrees. Xianxia thought that the duck blood and vermicelli soup must be too salty. Otherwise, why would her throat be so dry? She unconsciously licked the corner of her lips. Aren't you going? Shui squinted at her with a faint smile. Sister E, do you want me to go? The man's voice was low and magnetic. After deliberately lowering it, there was a hint of hoarseness in it, which sounded very seductive. In the live stream, I screamed until the voice-activated lights on all 30 floors lit up for me. Sister E quickly agreed. Don't you want to unlock the swimsuit version of Xianxia? OMG, Xianxia is so good. Ooh, asking like this really makes me feel like I'm in love. I'm getting a concussion from being teased in front of the screen. Under the light, the aroma of the rice wafted in the air. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Xianxia's face was calm. Up to you. However, she quickly added, I'll get you a bath towel. It seemed like he was given a choice. In fact, he had already conveyed his intentions. Shui chuckles and receives the little girl's signal calmly. Okay, I'll go change first. After he left, Xianxia quietly pinched her burning ears. That scene happened to be captured by the camera. In front of the screen, the audience all smiled like an ant. Li Jinyu deliberately played a naughty trick and suddenly changed the screen. Hey, it's not good to do a live stream of swimming or something. The pop-up comments were all urging him to start a live stream. Swimming is a healthy sport, it should be popularized to more people. I have a friend who is terminally ill. Her last wish is to see Xianxia's abs. Are we the ones who want to see it? Sister Yi wants to see it. Sister Yi's request must be fulfilled. Dog head. Live stream. If you dare to live stream, I'll call you daddy from now on. Chapter 705. The group of people who usually arrogantly called Director Li to smash the food were now crying and calling him daddy. This was probably, life was full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor, right? Xianxia prepared a few drinks and distributed them to the crew. The camera panned over and the audience in front of the screen almost burst out laughing. In the courtyard, the crew took turns to eat the duck banquet just like a large zombie feeding scene. Everyone was desperately stuffing food into their mouths. The lighting engineer and the sound collector were fighting online for a mouthful of the duck rack. The makeup artist and her assistant were tearing each other's hair out over the last bowl of duck blood vermicelli soup. And the cameraman who was eating and laughing maniacally, in the live stream. Duck duck, have a safe trip. Ha, another one has gone crazy. Sister E, you must have drugged the duck. With Xianxia's sour plum soup, strawberry orange juice, peach-flavored water and soy milk, a new round of fighting broke out. Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He wanted to go to the kitchen to make more supper. Li Jinyu said, you can film the food too. I'll get old Zhang to switch to the camera for the live stream. In the next second, Wanqing pushed Xianxia towards the swimming pool. Sister E, go give Shui and the others some water first. Many female audience members in front of the screen chuckled. Indeed, women knew women better. Director Li was just a younger brother. Smiley face. It was a hot summer day and the outdoor swimming pool was a good place to cool off. Xianxia arrived at the pool, put down the drink and towel and turned her small face. The cameraman was filming from her perspective, so the camera naturally turned to her. The first person that caught everyone's attention was Ren Daoist. He was in his 30s and had bronze-colored muscles. He had a wild and unrestrained beauty. He was holding a gourd in his hand and drinking wine casually. From time to time he would recite a few lines of poetry to the moon, giving off an otherworldly aura. Everyone. I'm crying, my figure isn't as good as Daoist's. Then it was Xiang Feng and Yu. Although Xiang Feng usually looked like a simple-minded person, he was actually very sporty. Moreover, with the good genes of the Xiang family, he still had a few abdominal muscles. He carried the soft and obedient Yu as if he was carrying a little chick. He put the little yellow duck swimming hoop on Yu and said, "Come, Grandpa will teach you how to splash water." Yu tilted his head and imitated him for a while. Then he boldly scooped up a handful of water and splashed it at Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng chuckled. Not bad, not bad. You're a fast learner. But little Yu, Grandpa will now teach you what it means to be beaten up by society. Yu was speechless. The audience in the live stream room. Zhou Xian is such a good man, why can't he be mute? The biggest weakness of the Xiang family's Feng Feng. Too bad he can talk. Help, I'm dying of laughter. Yu is still a baby. Why did he have to bully him like this? The child is dumbfounded. In the end, the camera lived up to everyone's expectations, and fell on Shui. The man was only wearing a pair of tight black swimming trunks. His hair was all combed back and his eyes were clean and clear. His abdominal muscles were well defined and his Apollo's belt reached his waistline. He had broad shoulders, a narrow waist and long legs. He had a standard inverted triangle figure, just like a walking hormone. Sensing the sound of Xiang Yi's footsteps, he turned his face to the side and smiled in Xiang Yi's direction. Chapter 706. In Shui's movies and TV series, Xiang Yi had seen him smile in many different ways. Innocent, ruthless, desperate and ruthless. But none of them had made her feel as moved as she did now. The girl nodded at him calmly, but her heart was beating wildly. The livestream had gone crazy. Those abs. My nose is bleeding. Good guy, Shui doesn't treat us as outsiders, does he? Sisters, I believe I'm not the only one who is Doraemon. Hey, if you want to talk about this, I'm not sleepy anymore. The comments section flew by quickly, dazzling everyone. After bullying Yu for a while, Xiang Feng finally found his conscience and brought the little brat to Xiang Yi's side. Yu's face was sullen as if he was sulking. Xiang Yi carefully dried his hair with a towel and asked, "Do you want something to drink?" Yu shook his head and sat down obediently without saying a word. Xiang Yi poked the little boy's cheek. "Are you angry? Do you want me to help you take revenge?" Yu's eyelashes were wet and he looked a little like a newborn puppy. He sounded a little depressed. "I'm not angry, I just feel that I'll be leaving in a few days." Sister Xiang Yi's family was so blissful. But he would have to leave sooner or later. He told himself that he couldn't be a greedy child, but he was still greedy. He wanted to stay here forever, eat Sister Xiang Yi's delicious food and listen to her warm fairy tales. Xiang Yi was stunned. She didn't expect Yu's answer to be like this. If you want to come and play, you can come anytime," Xiang Yi said with a smile. "I read in a book that people who meet will meet again. So we'll definitely have many opportunities to meet again in the future." Yu's eyelashes fluttered and he obediently wrapped the towel around himself. "Really? Can I?" Before he finished speaking, Xiang Feng's shout came from not far away. "Little Xiang Yi, help us be the referee. We're going to compete." Xiang Yi made a hand gesture to indicate okay. "Xiang Feng, I'll count to 321. Get ready, then we'll start. 3. Before he could finish counting, Xiang Feng had already jumped into the water and seized the initiative. Daoist Ren was confused. "I can't believe that there is someone more shameless than me in this world." He jumped into the water and chased after Xiang Feng with all his might. On the other hand, Shui was still on the shore. She stretched her wrists and ankles lazily, as if she did not care about the competition at all. Xiang Yi was anxious. She clenched her small fist and said, "Boyfriend, you can do it." Hearing the girl's voice, Shui glanced at her, raised her eyebrows and then jumped into the water. Her posture was standard like that of a professional athlete. Although Xiang Feng was the first to dive into the water, he ran out of strength halfway through. On the other hand, Ren Daozhang had better stamina and swam to the front. However, Shui was like a fish in water. In the blink of an eye, she had closed the distance between them. The man's figure was tall and slender, and he was nimble and agile in the water. His strength and beauty were undoubtedly revealed at this moment. 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter. Whoosh. Taking advantage of Ren Daozhang's respiration, Shi Sui directly overtook him, and then firmly held the first place. The audience watched with surging emotions. Shuringdi's stamina is not bad. Sister Yi's small body, can she handle it in the future? Wake up. Sister Yi is the girl who nailed a several-meter-long mountain peak into a tree with a sword. Everyone should be worried about Shuringdi, right? The live stream instantly fell into a mysterious silence. Chapter 707. That's true. Xianxia was someone who could lift pots that weighed more than 10 kilograms, slaughter little black pigs that weighed more than 100 kilograms, and beat up vicious fugitives when it came to beating people up. In comparison, Shuringdi seemed a little delicate? Someone asked, Shuringdi, can he do it? Instantly, everyone rushed to answer. I know this question. Shuringdi can't. Don't ask. If you ask, our Shi Sui can't do it. Does it matter if he can or not? Can't Sister Yi do it? The new fans were at a loss. Did Shuringdi have so many haters? However, when they clicked on the most vicious accounts, they realized that most of them were Shi Sui sisters. The new fans were speechless. What kind of operation was this? Had all the Shi Sui sisters' accounts been hacked? After a few rounds of back and forth, Shi Sui took first place without any suspense. Ren Daoist came in second with a gap of more than 10 meters between them. Xianxia was in an even worse state as he choked on water and panted like a dying dog. Sure, you walked to the side of the pool. Xianxia was touched. Are you here to comfort Grandpa? It's okay, Grandpa has a strong mentality. In the next second, Sure, you pulled out an oversized water gun. Xianxia was confused. Sure, you glanced at Xianxia guiltily. Sister Xianxia gave this to me. Xianxia was speechless. You listen to me. The only response he got was a merciless water gun attack. Sure, Yu's soft and tender voice rang out. Sister Xianxia said that those who mess around have to pay for what they've done. Xianxia was speechless. He was a domineering Xiao, yet he was killed by a little brat. This was intolerable. He was going to order a super large water gun when he got back. Shi Sui came out of the pool with her hands against the wall, her forearms showing smooth and distinct lines. Xianxia immediately handed her a towel, but there were still some viewers who were watching the livestream who quickly took screenshots. Damn these lines, these silhouettes. Sisters, there's a surprise after the zoom. Should I say he's indeed Shuringdi. I covered my best friend's mouth tightly to stop her from squawking. By the pool. Shi Sui was casually drying her hair when Xianxia asked, What do you want to drink? Any recommendations? Xianxia immediately got into character. Sir, this is the peach sparkling water I recommend for you. It has ice cubes and peppermint grass. Not only does it have the sweetness of the peach, but it also has the sourness of the bubbles. It also has a refreshing feeling. Shi Sui's eyes were gentle. Okay, that's it. Xianxia continued to act. Sir, can you give me your contact information? Was Little Rabbit trying to put on a show? Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. She's prettier than you, so please don't disturb me. Pfft. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. What else do you want to act? It's free of charge and I'm looking forward to it. Shi Sui's answer attracted a lot of praise from the audience. All straight men should learn. This is the standard answer. Copying homework. I'm going to trick my boyfriend later, huh? Untimely 99. Please continue to show off your affection day after day. Have you guys seen Weibo? Master Yen has issued a challenge to Sister Yi. Master Yen? Let's go watch the show now. Everyone searched for Master Yen, and the relevant Weibo immediately popped up. Master Yen, successor of the Yen school. Young man, you're plagiarizing my school's swordsmanship, tai chi and other techniques. This is intolerable. Let's have a showdown tomorrow. Do you dare? Xianxia v. Chapter 708. The netizens were confused. Who is this person? Immediately, a class representative came out to speak. Master Yen is a famous martial arts master and a contracted streamer of Fanyu streaming. He's good at Yan's swordsmanship, Yan's tai chi and other martial arts, self-proclaimed. He has opened several martial arts schools in China, all closed down. He has challenged and defeated more than a dozen domestic and foreign masters, all unknown. In conclusion, I suggest you don't treat him as a martial arts master. You'll be surprised if you treat him as a comedic streamer. Everyone was speechless. So he's just a clown? But soon, Everyone realized that the internet was vast and full of strange things. Master Yan really had a lot of loyal fans and they were especially aggressive. Master Yan's swordsmanship and swordsmanship are all passed down from the Yan family. Xianxia is a thief. Stealing without asking is called stealing. Stealing without returning is called shameless. She's a beauty, but why is she so cheap? If she's not guilty, why doesn't she dare to accept Master Yan's tactics? Of course she's afraid of him. The netizens' reactions were, well, as long as you guys are happy. Although they couldn't bear to watch it, they really couldn't. Everyone thought it was just a farce, but they didn't expect Ren Daozhong to be a surfer too. After going ashore and scrolling through Weibo, he was filled with righteous indignation. Nonsense. What nonsense? Release his mother's dog. Cough, cough, cough. Li Jianyu, who had a strong desire to survive, coughed violently to remind him. Ren Daozhong changed his words. Release his mother's dog. I'll help him. After all, I think he has nothing better to do. Could be said to be very civilized. Xianxia took a look at Weibo and responded calmly, I'm not interested in fighting and killing. Is it because my cooking isn't good enough, or is sure you not cute enough? Good time should be spent playing the piano, reading books, learning medicine and gardening, not wasting it on such boring people. Xiang Feng said, Tisk, such people are just clowns. Don't bother. Ren Daozhong's phone vibrated. He refreshed it and found that Master Yan had updated his status. This time it was even more hostile and seemed to be a personal attack. Yan Men's descendant Master Yan V. Since you're a girl, I won't argue with you. But if you have a man in your family, I'll fight with you. Or let your boyfriend do it. But, your son and your boyfriend don't have any balls, right? You look like a pretty boy in the photo. Forgive me for being blunt, but I can take on 10 of you at once. After reading this, Daoist Ren felt that the atmosphere around him had changed. The source of the change was the uncle and nephew of the Xiang clan. Xiang Feng was the first to jump up. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? How dare you scold my family? I'm the only one who can scold my family, understand? Xiangxi's delicate little face was calm. She looked very calm and steady, but when she spoke she was extremely valiant. The girl looked up at the camera with her clear doe eyes, her gaze firm and sharp. Just because I don't like fighting and killing doesn't mean that I'm afraid of fighting and killing. Reason should be talked to. Since reason doesn't work, then I'll try peaceful means before resorting to force. Let him decide the time and place. I'll accompany you to the end. The staff at the scene were all shocked by Xiangxi's imposing manner. Oh my god. Why does the gentle Sister E have such a domineering side to her? The viewers in the livestream were all dumbfounded. Oh my god, how is this Sister E? This is Brother E, Daddy E. Chapter 709. When Master Yan received the news, he was also a little dumbfounded. In reality, his martial arts club wasn't run well and he had lost a lot of money. Later on, he relied on being an internet celebrity to reap the benefits. Xiangxia actually agreed to the challenge? This was really beyond his expectations. However, Master Yan smiled contemptuously and didn't take Xiangxia seriously. She's just a young girl. Even if she started practicing martial arts in her mother's womb, she's definitely no match for me. #Xiangxia agrees to the challenge. This term quickly became a hot search and caused a heated discussion among netizens. Some of the netizens were just watching it as a joke, while others were seriously evaluating the combat effectiveness of the two of them. Master Yan may always say some strange things to gain popularity, but his strength is really impressive. He has been practicing martial arts since he was a child. I don't think I need to remind you of the importance of the virgin martial arts, right? Our Sister E isn't bad either. I feel that Sister E is the type of person in Wuxia novels who is agile. She has quick reflexes and is good at using softness to overcome strength. She's no match for Master Yan. Xiangxia, 5 stars in agility, 3 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. Master Yan, 5 stars in agility, 5 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. From a probability point of view, I think Master Yan will win. Those who said that Sister E has 3 stars in strength, haven't you seen the video of her stabbing a mountain peak? The wooden sword pierced through the snake's body and into the tree. She definitely has inner strength. The two sides were arguing endlessly. This night was destined to be chaotic. The next day, Xianxia had a very regular routine. She woke up early in the morning and exercised for a while before watering the flowers and plants. When she was almost done watering, Shui also came back from her morning run. After making eye contact, Xianxia said, "I just saw the news on Weibo. Master Yan has already booked the location for his new martial arts club. I'll go there myself later." Shui said, "I'll go with you." No, I can handle it." In fact, the young girl was still a little worried about losing. She had never had the chance to test her combat effectiveness. Therefore, Xianxia was not sure what level she was at in this world. In any case, she felt that the most powerful and cruel person in the world was her big brother. Compared to her brother, she would always be a rookie. "Do you really think I'm a gigolo?" Shui walked closer and flicked her forehead, which was as smooth as porcelain. "Your boyfriend is not as weak as you think. He wasn't made of paper." He was just joking around with the little girl, but he felt that Xianxia really treated him as little Jiao. Xianxia said embarrassedly, "I'm not questioning you. I just don't want to embarrass myself in front of you," Shui said with a faint smile. "You lost. I'll avenge you." Xianxia asked straightforwardly, "What if we both die? Then I'll take the beating with you?" Xianxia imagined the scene of her and Shui supporting each other with bruised faces after being violently beaten up. "Sigh, I feel like I'm going to be miserable." "Sister E, Daddy Sure, get ready, we're going to start the live stream." Li Jianyu and the staff adjusted the equipment, made a hand gesture and then turned on the live stream. There were hundreds of thousands of loyal fans waiting for the live stream. Seeing the screen lit up, everyone came out to cheer for Xianxia. However, there were also people who raised concerns. "Master Yan has dozens of masters and disciples in his martial arts club. Our sister E only has a few people. I feel like we've lost in terms of momentum." Chapter 710. Yes, even with Shui, Daoist Ren and Yu, there were only 4 of them. Achoo, Xiang Feng sneezed and walked out of the villa yelling, "Don't think of secretly leaving me behind." He had a habit of staying up late, and making him wake up early was worse than not eating junk food for a month. But even so, Xiang Feng still stubbornly got out of bed. Moreover, he had changed into a t-shirt that people rushed over overnight. The front was printed with, "Tutu is invincible," and the back was, "I am your father." It was a combination of support and hatred, a vivid interpretation of what it meant to make the best use of everything. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. So there was still President Xiang. She hadn't almost forgotten about him. She had completely forgotten about him. For some reason, President Xiang never had a sense of presence. "I'll go with you." Daoist Ren followed closely behind, carrying a peachwood sword on his back and holding a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He smiled slightly and said, "Xianxia, if you don't mind, I'm willing to hold the fort for you." In addition, he had also prepared a small surprise for Xianxia. I want to go too." A soft voice came from Yu. The little boy was very good at taking care of himself. He dressed and washed up on his own and even carried a small school bag on his back. However, there were a few strands of hair on his head that were sticking up, making him look extremely adorable. Sensing everyone's intentions, Xianxia felt a warmth in her heart. "Then let's go together." If she was embarrassed, so be it. He would just take it as a day trip. Xianxia went to change her clothes. Xiang Feng stayed where he was, urging Daoist Ren and Yu to change into the support t-shirts, but was naturally rejected by the two. Since the adults couldn't handle it, Xiang Feng chuckled and reached out his claws to Yu. The audience who saw this scene had mixed feelings. There are finally 5 people. Including the staff, there should be about 10 or so, right? But it feels like an amateur team challenging the national team. Xiang Feng is unreliable, but he really doesn't disappoint me. Let Yu go, he's still a child. Wow, Xiang Yu's livestream is so good at riding on people's coattails. He even started a livestream for Master Yan. He's trying to steal the traffic. At this moment in the dojo, the staff of Sanyu Broadcasting had arrived at the scene last night and had installed cameras from many angles. The web page and the app had pop-up recommendations to ensure that users would be able to see Master Yan's live broadcast once they clicked on it. There was no other reason other than the fact that Dianyu Livestream and Xianxia Livestream were competitors. This time, the battle between Xianxia and Master Yan was undoubtedly a great opportunity for them to fight for viewership. They had already designed a whole set of packaging and marketing plans for Master Yan, intending to push him to become a top internet celebrity. Then they would imitate two under one roof and create a daily variety show in the martial arts center. Every episode they would invite guests to learn martial arts. After learning, they would cook some delicious food, and after cooking they would chat about life. Who knows, maybe they'll go viral all over the internet and successfully get promoted to the stars. Then they'll export it overseas and take down two under one roof. Master Yen understood that black and red were also red. As soon as the live broadcast started, he began to say some controversial words. I advise women not to learn martial arts. It's better for them to stay at home and take care of their husbands and children. They should just do the laundry and cook. Otherwise you'll end up like Xianxia and be disfigured by me later. I suggest that she call her brothers and boyfriends over. Even if they attack me together, I have a way to deal with it. I'll definitely be unscathed. You guys don't have to worry about whether I can win or not. What you should worry about is whether Xianxia can afford to lose. I think she can't afford to lose. Chapter 7:11. Stirring up conflict was always the easiest way to stir up conflict. Nowadays, the simplest thing on the internet was gender. However, as soon as these comments came out, the netizens' emotions were stirred up. Some people cursed at Master Yen, while others clapped their hands and cheered, feeling that Master Yen had spoken their minds. The public opinion instantly turned into a debate about whether women should be good husbands and raise children. Everyone had their own opinions and was in a heated argument. The person in charge of Dianyu livestream was also at the scene and naturally turned a blind eye to Master Yan's behavior. Anyway, it was fine as long as there was traffic. What was so important about anything else? There were two tablets in front of him that were playing Two Under One Roof and Master Yan's livestream at the same time. Seeing that Xianxia and the others were about to arrive at the martial arts center, the person in charge gave the order with a confident smile on his face. Soon Xianxia would experience what it meant to be crushed. The black van stopped in front of the martial arts center. In order to promote the martial arts center, Master Yen made the address public and there was a huge crowd at the scene. Fortunately, Yuan Qing had the foresight to find an official and private security company to maintain order. Xianxia got out of the car. She was dressed in a white sportswear, looking clean and youthful. There was a heated discussion in the crowd. Wow, she's indeed a celebrity. She's so beautiful in person. Sister Yi's face is so small. I feel like my face is twice as big as hers. I feel good watching live streams. She's too skinny, she can't take a beating. After Shui got out of the car, the cheers at the scene reached a peak. In addition to the strong popularity, many of Shui's sisters also rushed to the scene. Shui. Hearing a few hysterical voices, Shui's gaze fell on the crowd and he gently gestured for them to keep quiet. As if by magic, the crowd really quieted down. Shui nodded slightly as a form of greeting. There was nothing wrong with her etiquette and demeanor. Everyone entered the martial arts center. Xianxia and the others were all dressed in sportswear and were dressed casually. Obviously, they didn't take the battle very seriously. However, Master Yen was different. He was wearing a black practice suit with golden embroidery on it. It looked quaint and textured. His disciples, on the other hand, were all dressed in white training clothes with black belts around their waists. They looked very ostentatious. The audience in the livestream could clearly feel the difference. You-1 Master Yen and the others are really impressive. Sister E and the others are too shabby, they're completely relying on their looks. Sure, you has nothing left to live for. He's wearing that I am your father t-shirt until it's almost up to his ankles. Master Yen looked Xianxia up and down, his nostrils overflowing with a light sneer. You? Little girl, I advise you to go back and practice. Do you know how to do the horse stance? Can you do it for half an hour at a time? What you plagiarized was only my school of Yen swordsmanship and Tai Chi, but the true essence of my school of Yen is the basics. Xianxia interrupted him. If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Master Yen flew into a rage out of humiliation. Young man, you don't understand etiquette. You don't have any morals. The dozens of disciples behind him also pointed at Xianxia and mocked her. All of a sudden, Daoist Ren said loudly, before the official competition, let's welcome fellow Daoist Min from Baiyun Temple, fellow Daoist Su from Jade Spring Temple, fellow Daoist Yu from Yongla Palace. Master Yen was speechless. What? You're calling for external help? Chapter 7:12. He looked at the door with a dumbfounded expression. Several Daoist priests and Daoist nuns, who were either dressed in Daoist robes or training attire, entered. Those who were familiar with contemporary Daoist culture would know that they were all big shots. There was an uproar in the live stream. Wow, are these Daoist priests here to watch the battle? Impressive, they actually managed to invite so many big shots. I wonder who they're doing this for? Is it Sister Yi or Master Yen? Daoist Ren was still introducing them loudly. Fellow Daoist Zhang from Mount Song Temple. Fellow Daoist Wang from Yellow Dragon Temple. Master Yan's fans immediately rushed to comment in the live stream. These experts are obviously here for our Master Yan. Xianxia is just a woman, how could she possibly know people of this level? Master Yan has traveled the world and has a wide range of friends. It's normal for him to have some friends to help him in the battle. They said it confidently, but they were immediately slapped in the face. After listening to Daoist Ren's eloquent recitation of dozens of names, Daoist Ren leisurely said, "Thank you, fellow Daoists, for coming to support our little friend Xianxia." There was an uproar. These Daoist priests are all here for Xianxia? In other words, these big shots are all here to support Xianxia. Xianxia herself was quite confused. Her little head, which was tied into a bun, tilted as she curiously sized up the people who had come. These new Daoist priests looked at Xianxia with a very friendly gaze. Although it was their first time meeting her, they seemed to have seen Xianxia many times. Little friend Xianxia, do your best and don't have any regrets. Calm your mind and don't let the outside world disturb you. It doesn't matter if you lose. In life, let nature take its course and let fate take its course. A lot of chicken soup for the soul was sent to Xianxia. Xianxia. Thank you. The livestream viewers. Sister E is so popular. Oh my god, who said Sister E doesn't have any face? With dozens of Daoist priests, I just want to ask, who does? Who? Master Yen is so lowly, I feel like his disciples are extras hired for 50 yuan a day. Sister E is a gathering of big shots. Grandmaster Yen steadied his heart and opened his mouth to distort the truth. Heh, you think that by using such methods to pressure me I will waver? You're underestimating the martial artists of the sect of the Yen sect. I'll never give in the dark. The expressions of the disciples behind him changed. As expected of Master. Xiang Feng rolled his eyes and ridiculed, "Can you cut down on your acting? Let me tell you, when it comes to acting we have professionals here." Shui Master Yen shivered when he met Shui's gaze. For some reason, the young man's gaze made his heart palpitate for no reason. His aura was too terrifying. Master Yen avoided Shui's gaze and cupped his hands at Xianxia. "I'm Yen Dezhuang from the sect of the Yen sect. Please enlighten me." Xianxia. What a ritualistic gesture. She was about to say a few perfunctory words when her uncle Xiang Feng beat her to it. She's the successor of the god of cookery. The personal disciple of the medical sage. The giver of the muse. The girl of magic, the queen of martial arts. The guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm. It's her, Xianxia. Master Yen. Everyone. The livestream viewers. Xianxia. Xianxia was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig out a demon immortal castle with her toes. Chapter 7:13. After Xiang Feng finished bragging, he still felt like he hadn't had enough. "My little niece is the cutest and most outstanding kid in the world. I can't praise her too much." Yu, who was at the side, nodded repeatedly. "Yes, Grandpa is right. Sister Xianxia is just that good." The comment section of the livestream was filled with laughter. "I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to explode. It's such a pity that Mr. Xiang isn't a talk show host. The magical girl, the martial arts queen, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm, huh?" After the exchange of moves, Master Yen began his performance. He first got into a horse stance, then pushed forward with both hands, looking like he was trying to circulate his qi. Xianxia had developed a good habit of being cautious when she transmigrated, which was not to underestimate any opponent. Even if the other party looked weak. She observed Master Yen and did not act rashly. However, the other party's behavior confused her greatly. After circulating his qi, Master Yen circled around her again and again. From time to time he would make strange sounds like "ma" and "haya." Xianxia was speechless. The girl frowned. She suspected that the other party was pretending to be a tactic. He was pretending to be crazy to hide his true strength. but in fact he was waiting for an opportunity to kill her in one blow. Master Yan's fans thought so too. You guys think Master Yan is on the first floor, but you don't know that he's on the 5th floor. He's predicting Xianxi's movements. With this kind of strength he's probably a peerless expert, a half-step master. Seeking changes in changes, Master Yan's skills have improved again. Through rapid movements he can deduce mysterious countermeasures. With his basic skills and flexible fighting style, Master Yan is in the bag. However, in the eyes of most people the battle between the two of them was so boring. Please sister move. Please Master Yan stop circling around. Some haters who didn't mind watching the show roared in the comments section. You guys can't kill him like this. Xiang Feng was extremely nervous and kept asking Shui, how is it? Do you think little Xiangyi can beat this old man? Shui looked at him quietly. For some reason Xiang Feng saw a trace of pity in his eyes. Daoist Ren and the others had a rough idea of what was going on. This Grandmaster Yan was just a pretty face. He reckoned that he had Tongzi Gong, but it was obvious that he had abandoned it. His footsteps were light and his lower body was unstable. It was obvious that he had abandoned himself to the world of mortals and had abandoned practicing martial arts. Although it looked imposing, it was only enough to scare laymen. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Master Yan roared. Xiangyi? Was he going to use his mouth to attack? Master Yan thought that he had confused Xiangyi, so he threw a punch at Xiangyi's face. Xiangyi dodged sideways. Because of Master Yan's action, an argument broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that no matter what, they shouldn't hit someone in the face, not to mention that Xiangyi was an artist. There were also some people who felt that a martial arts competition was a martial arts competition. Was there a need to differentiate between men and women, old and young? The two of them exchanged a few moves. Basically, it was Master Yan attacking and Xiangyi defending. Master Yan was ecstatic. He won. He definitely won. This Xiangyi was obviously a noob. Ah! With a sudden scream, Master Yan was kicked to the ground by Xiangyi. He lay on the ground, unable to move. The audience was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Xiangyi had KO'd Master Yan with one move. The little girl looked confused and muttered to herself, That's it? Chapter 7:14. Oh, this must be a tactic. There must be a backup plan. The girl calmed herself down and looked serious, ready to land the killing blow at any time. But 1 second passed, 10 seconds passed, half a minute passed in the blink of an eye. Master Yan was still lying on the ground like he was dead. The live stream viewers. What's going on? Is he dead? Sister Yi's flying kick was so cool. I want to learn that. What happened to being the successor of Yen's school? That's it? That's it? Is she made of paper? The referee was invited by Master Yan. He originally wanted to be biased towards Master Yan, but in the face of everyone's burning gazes he blushed. Ahem, I announced that Xiangyi is the winner of this match. The verdict was final. Xiangyi was even more confused as confusion appeared on her milky white face. I won? The girl's reaction was so adorable. Sister E is super cute, super dumb and super fierce, haha. Master Yan's disciples were all dumbfounded. No way. Master lost just like that. The person in charge of Dianyu livestream fell into a chair. It's over. His face was pale as his lips quivered. Dianyu livestream had spent a lot of manpower, material and financial resources to promote this match. He even promised his boss that through this livestream, Dianyu livestream would attract traffic and create a popular livestream variety show. But now, it had become a farce. Grandmaster Yan was simply like a jumping clown. And he was a big idiot who had been played by a clown. Xiang Feng shouted, Hey, the outcome has been decided. Old man, hurry up and get up, don't try to scam us. Master Yan still did not move. His disciples reacted and wailed loudly, Master. Everyone gathered around only to find that Master Yan had fainted. For a moment the scene was filled with people pinching each other and dialing 120. It was chaos. Finally, Master Yan slowly regained consciousness. With the help of his disciples he barely managed to stand up. As soon as he opened his mouth he scolded, Young man, you sneak attacked me when I wasn't paying attention. I was careless and didn't dodge. Martial artists of our generation should stand in the open. Humph, I advise you to take care of yourself. The 30,000 disciples of the Gate of Yen will not let you go. Xiangyi, Question mark. Grandpa, you're obviously trying to blackmail me. Just as the young lady was speechless, her uncle had already pulled her down to the ground. Xianfeng spouted some nonsense with a straight face. Your skills are really impressive, old man. He had actually transformed his external strength into internal strength. It was truly terrifying. Damn it, he actually used his internal energy to sneak attack us. Master Yen. K, when did I have internal strength? You little bastard. Beep. Infuriate this old man to death. Beep. Ah. Countless silenced profanities flashed through Master Yan's mind like a bullet screen. Sure Yu's eyes widened. Xianfeng's actions were completely different from the gentlemanly education he had received. It had a strong impact on his worldview. However, for Sister Xiangyi, the little Shota clenched his little fists and quickly lay down beside Xianfeng and Xiangyi. Looking at the three people lying down neatly, Master Yen and his disciples were dumbfounded. However, this scene poked at countless people's funny spots. The popularity of the live stream did not decrease but instead increased. The number of viewers was even higher than when Xiangyi and Master Yen fought. Xianfeng, forever a god in the Pingxi world. Sure Yu is also lying down. This child has been led astray. Oh my god. It's okay to scam each other, ha. Chapter 7:15. Master Yen reacted and was so angry that his beard and hair stood on end. You young people don't talk about martial arts ethics. The next second Xianfeng screamed, Ah. Master Yen, you actually plotted against us again. Sure Yu also shouted expressionlessly, Ah. It was very soulless. Xiangyi, the little girl, had a hard time holding back her laughter. Her slender shoulders trembled. Master Yen was about to go crazy. What evidence do you have to prove that I hurt you? You're playing me. The next second, a series of low coughs could be heard. That sound seemed to be the result of trying hard to be surprised but unable to control it. There was a trace of vulnerability in the pitiful voice, a trace of strength in the vulnerability, and a trace of pain in the strength. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw Shui's slender fingertips on his lips. His peach blossom eyes were stained with water vapor, dark and wet. Sensing everyone's gaze, he raised his eyes and struggled to pull the corners of his mouth. He frowned uncomfortably and said, Master Yen, you're right. You didn't use your internal strength to sneak an attack on us. See? There's finally someone who understands. Did you hear what he said? Master Yen was anxious to seek confirmation from others. Little did he know. The netizens who thought he was a fool just now felt that Master Yen was something. Otherwise, why would Shui be like this? At a glance, it was obvious that he had suffered internal injuries, but he was still holding it in. He must have said that on purpose for Xiangyi's sake. He was afraid that Xiangyi would be hurt by Master Yen again. This kind of spirit of loving his girlfriend more than his face was too touching. Even Master Yan's disciples were shaken. Could it be that Master really had internal strength? So all this time Master had been holding back from us? Was he pretending? Many people instantly felt alienated from Master Yen. Even the onlooking staff couldn't help but point at him. It's a little too much. Master Yen is too much of a bully. He even said that Sister Yi sneaked an attack. I think he was the one who did it. Master Yen was about to vomit blood. He said that I don't have internal strength. I didn't sneak an attack on them. Unfortunately, when it came to acting, a certain best actor was truly a professional. Even if it was just a casual performance, the sense of immersion and empathy were extremely strong. Cough cough. Shui coughed a little harder. Her lips were pale and she looked like she would fall to the ground in the next second. He knelt down beside Xiangyi on one knee and said, That's right, Great Master Yen. Didn't do anything. Cough cough cough. Sister Yi, are you okay? I'm sorry for not being able to protect you. Xiangyi panicked. What's wrong with you? The little girl was so concerned that she was confused and thought that he was really feeling unwell. Just as she was about to get up to take his pulse, Shui raised his hand to caress her cheek. Of course, at an angle that was not easily noticed by others, the man's palm covered her lips. He winked at the girl. Xiangyi! Exclamation point. Very good, her boyfriend has also learned bad things. At this time, Daoist Ren and the others also spoke up. Sai, it's just a martial arts competition. Don't go overboard, Great Master Yen. Look at how badly you've hurt these young people. Don't go too far. Great Master Yan, you're attacking indiscriminately. No, I can't take it anymore. Great Master Yan's eyes were about to pop out. Ah! Damn it, what kind of lineup is this? Chapter 7:16. Master Yan was infuriated. The live stream viewers on the other hand were delighted. Ha, everyone is so evil. Master Yan's expression can be screenshotted and used as an emoji pack. I'm dying of laughter. Shui, you won the Best Actor award 3 times just to act as Master Yan today, right? It's over. The words "that's it, terrifying," and "immoral," are all on repeat in my head. The person in charge of Dianyu livestream realized that the popularity of the livestream was high on the internet, but, damn it, why did everyone go to Xianxia livestream? They all went to the livestream of Two Under One Roof. In fact, it could be considered a coincidence for Xianxia livestream. The promotion of Dianyu livestream had been focused on the martial arts competition in the early stages, while Xianxia livestream promoted Shui's sister Yi as a one-day tour. As a result, the audience's expectations were completely different. The viewers of Dianyu livestream wanted to watch the martial arts competition. Once the competition ended and Master Yan lost, it would be meaningless. However, Xianxia livestream was different. Everyone had always watched it on that day, but they didn't expect it to be so silly. It was so funny. Life was already hard enough. What was the point of watching live streams and variety shows? Wasn't it just for fun? Two Under One Roof had achieved that. In fact, it had reached a perfect level. It was also worth mentioning that Xianxia livestream didn't expect Dianyu livestream to lead them in the opposite direction. Perhaps Shui's sister Yi really has a halo of luck? At the martial arts center, Xiang Feng was worried that he would really infuriate the old man, so he found a way out and pulled his niece and the others up to leave. Now that things had gotten to this point, Master Yan had completely lost, be it in terms of face or ability. However, he was really thick-skinned and changed the angle of his attack to Xianxia. Your swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from the Yen school. So it can't be considered as my loss. At the end of the day, you used my family's inheritance to defeat me. Xianxia realized that the other party wasn't a real martial artist at all. He was just a funny clown. The girl's eyes were calm. How can you prove that my swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from your family's inheritance? Of course, Master Yan couldn't prove it. Martial arts had been passed down since ancient times. It could be said that many clans and sects had their own legacies. It was nothing more than you influencing me and I influencing you. Everyone fought together and improved. Of course, this did not exclude the existence of unique techniques. Master Yan thought he had found a way to refute Xianxia, so he asked, "Then how can you prove that you didn't plagiarize my work?" This move was too damaging and too ruthless. This was like comparing the perpetrator and the victim. They did not ask the perpetrator why he hurt others and why he did evil. Instead, he asked the victim, "Why do you think the perpetrator wanted to harm you? Why did it have to be you and not someone else?" Master Yan thought that Xianxia wouldn't be able to defend herself. Just as he was about to take advantage of the situation, he heard the girl say, "What a coincidence, I can really prove it." Master Yan was confused. Xiang Feng promptly handed over a few thick ancient books, but they were all photocopies. The original had been donated to the museum by the Xiang family. My swordsmanship and taiji were inherited from my grandfather. Tracing back hundreds of years, they are all recorded in the family tree. The netizens were shocked. Not only did she have evidence, but she also had solid evidence. Thor's hammer. Master Yan was confused. Chapter 7:17. Master Yan was in despair. No, he was in utter despair. He had been a scammer for many years and had never tasted defeat. But today not only did he lose to scammers, he was even beaten to the ground. Did he say that Xianxia is a noob? In the end he was KO'd. Did he say that Xianxia plagiarized? In the end she has her own heritage. That's infuriating. The netizens laughed even more merrily because of this dramatic turn of events. Master Yan, you have to pay for what you've done. Wow, the Xiang family has a heritage of hundreds of years. Sister Yi is really rich and beautiful. Master Yan, what does it feel like to hit an iron plate? I'll show you guys now. Even if Master Yan wanted to quibble, all his words were meaningless in the face of real evidence. You plagiarized. Even if you didn't, it means that your ancestors plagiarized from our family. Anyway, the Yen school's heritage is the best. You're bullying an old man like me just because you're young. I was careless and fell into your trap. Master Yen repeated those words over and over again, but unfortunately no one wanted to listen to him anymore. Those who tried to curry favor with others were most afraid of losing the attention of others. The way Great Master Yan's disciples looked at him had changed as well. They suddenly sobered up as if the clouds had cleared. Previously it was as if Master Yen had drugged them. Whatever he said they believed it to be true. In fact, after thinking about it carefully, they realized that his words couldn't withstand the scrutiny of logic at all. At this moment, Master Yen had yet to realize that today was an important turning point in his life from an internet celebrity to an internet hater. Retribution has finally come. Xianxia had no intention of arguing with Master Yen anymore. She had used her martial prowess to defend her dignity and also used solid evidence to prove her innocence. That was enough. Shall we go out to eat today? I know a good private restaurant where I can invite all of you to have a taste, Xianxia suggested. The Daoist masters were particularly interested in her talismans, so they naturally agreed. At the door, a clear voice of a young man suddenly sounded. Miss Yang, please wait. This voice sounded a little familiar. Xianxia turned her head and saw a tall figure hurrying through the crowd. It was a young man of about 17 or 18 years old. He was wearing a clean navy blue training suit with a long sword on his back. He had delicate facial features and fair skin. His expression was gentle and shy. Xianxia recognized him. Zhou Xian. Speaking of which, the two families could be considered old friends. The Xiang clan had practiced medicine for many generations and had also passed down sword manuals, fist techniques and the like, but most of them were used to strengthen the body. The Zhou clan was different. Basically, the entire clan was a martial arts fanatic. In ancient times they had founded a sect and now they had opened a martial arts dojo. Xianxia and Zhou Xian had met a few times and he didn't talk much. At most he would say a few words about swordsmanship. Hello, Miss Yang. Zhou Xian cautiously nodded her head in greeting and cupped her fists towards Xianxia. As long time no see. Sorry for offending you. Can I have a match with you? The young man's eyes were full of bright light. Shui squinted slightly and decided not to make a move for the time being. However, the audience in the livestream got excited. I can do this, brother. He stutters nervously when he speaks. I'm dead. You women have double standards. Luning stutters too. Why isn't anyone praising him? Such a cute brother. Sister E is going to beat him to tears. Hurry up. Chapter 7:18. Are you the devil? There was a huge increase in traffic to Xianxia's livestream, and the comment section of the livestream was extremely lively. However, the online traffic of Pianyu's livestream dropped again and again. No one wanted to see Master Yen quibble in a pathetic state. Since Pianyu had signed a contract with Master Yen, the cameras were all facing him. What the netizens wanted to see was the battle between Xianxia and Zhou Xian. Hence, the heartless netizens began to download Xianxia's livestream on the spot, contributing another batch of users to Xianxia's livestream. Competition? Xianxia asked in bewilderment. You should look for a professional then. She was just an amateur with mediocre skills. It was no exaggeration to say that Zhou Xian had been practicing swordsmanship since he was a child. If there were standards for swordsmanship like other sports, he would definitely be a national team player. Zhou Xian was speechless. Miss Yang, do you have a serious misunderstanding about me? I've seen the video of you subduing Feng Shan. You're very impressive. Stabbing a wooden sword into a snake's body was something that anyone who practiced swordsmanship for years could do. However, piercing a tree trunk was not something that ordinary people could do. Xianxia said, well, I just used a little bit of force. If you're interested, I can teach you how to exert force. The young man was stunned. She actually wants to teach me such a powerful technique so casually? Zhou Xian immediately felt ashamed. His family had taught him since he was a child that swordsmanship was not to be taught to outsiders, and all the opponents he encountered also abided by this principle. He finally understood how narrow-minded he and those people were. Miss Yang's mindset is extraordinary. Please, agree to my request. The young man's fingertips trembled slightly and he said in an embarrassed but firm tone, please. He bowed to Xianxia. Everyone thought, wow. This young man is quite persistent. Xianxia's cherry lips moved, but she really couldn't bring herself to turn him down. She said helplessly, Okay, shall we begin now? Xu Xinglan's eyes lit up and he nodded vigorously. Xianxia, my little friend, I'll lend you my sword. The enthusiastic Daoist took out his peachwood sword and tossed it to Xianxia. The girl casually caught it. Xu Xinglan also took out his sword. Whenever he went out he would use a wooden sword due to the ban on weapons. The people of the Xu family loved swords to the point that they treated their swords as their wives. Therefore, even if it was a wooden sword, the scabbard was incomparably exquisite and gorgeous. The young man slowly pulled out his sword. There were patterns engraved on the blade of the sword. They were all personally carved by him using a carving knife. Please enlighten me. You flatter me. Viewers in the live stream, oh my god, I feel like my brother is an expert. His aura is completely different from that of Master Yan. Brother's sword is so beautiful. You want to snatch your brother's sword away? Watch him get angry and cry. Little brother seems to be a sword cultivator from a Xianxia novel. And Sister E, she's so cool and beautiful when she's holding the sword. The two exchanged a few pleasantries and without wasting any more words, they began to exchange blows. Bang! Crack! The wooden swords clashed, producing a sound that made people's hearts jump. The two silhouettes were light and agile. They moved so quickly that the camera could barely capture them. From time to time, afterimages would appear. Not far away, the person in charge of Dianyu Broadcasting sneered, "What's so interesting about a martial arts competition? Everyone must have run away by now." The assistant at the side said shakily, I just looked at their data. Not only did they not run away, there are even more people." The person in charge was speechless. Are netizens' preferences so unpredictable these days? All of a sudden, with a loud clang, a wooden sword fell to the ground and broke. Chapter 719. For a moment, everyone's attention was drawn to the scene. Xianxia stared blankly at the broken sword on the ground and pursed her lips. The two of them were too fast. At this time, the camera happened to focus on Xianxi's back, creating a blind spot. The audience couldn't see clearly at all and were all asking questions. Whose sword is broken? The room was extremely quiet. A moment later, a small sob sounded in everyone's ears. This voice was. The camera panned and landed on Xu Xinglan. Everyone could see his expression clearly. The fair and delicate youth clenched his fists tightly. There was nothing in his hands at this time. The youth's beautiful eyes were red and misty, but he stubbornly held back his tears. He was really too pitiful. Everyone. Xu Xinglan's sword was broken. Xianxia looked at him and blamed herself. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I was too strong. I didn't expect you to. Her words came to an abrupt end. Obviously, the girl realized that what she was about to say was inappropriate. However, this had the opposite effect. Xu Xinglan's clear eyes became even redder. His thin shoulders couldn't help but tremble slightly. He bit his lip hard. He had lost. And he had lost so quickly. He had practiced swordsmanship for decades, but in front of Xianxia he couldn't even last 20 moves. For the first time, Xu Xinglan began to doubt himself. Was he really talented in swordsmanship? Was he really capable? Could he really continue? Xianxia blamed herself. She thought that she would lose, so she wanted to give it her all and leave no regrets. But she didn't expect. Her brother was a little weak? First she was just testing him. Later she tried to counterattack. She didn't expect that she would accidentally. Then he would win. Secondly, she accidentally broke her brother's sword. She heard that the Xu family treated their swords as their wives. This was practically the hatred of killing one's wife. If she had known, she would have gone easy on him. I was just lucky just now. Xianxia tried to salvage the situation. Why don't we do it again? This time she would definitely use 50%. No 10% of her strength. She originally thought that Xu Xinglan would readily agree, but she didn't expect that the youth would act as if he had been greatly insulted. His voice was tinged with an aggrieved sob. There's no need. You win. Tears quickly gathered in his eyes. The young man, who had never cried no matter how hard he trained with the sword since he was young, suddenly shed a large tear. I lost. Xianxia panicked. Why was she crying? In the live stream, countless sisters were screaming. Aw, Sister E, well done. He's really crying now. When I see a girl crying, I want to hand her a tissue. When I see my brother crying, my heart itches. I want him to cry even harder. Doghead. Little brother, I can take this crying tone. I'm sure it'll sound great on the balcony, in the study, and in the kitchen. After Zhou Xian admitted defeat, his emotions completely collapsed. His entire person was on the verge of collapse, as if he would fall to the ground at any moment. Xianxia hurriedly touched her pocket. Fortunately, she had brought a lot of sweets to coax Shiryu. Just as she was about to give them to Zhou Xian, her small hand was suddenly wrapped by a pair of large hands. In the next second, his fair and well-defined fingers slowly took the sweets from her hand, and at the same time gently rubbed the girl's soft palm. It was slightly ticklish. Xianxia couldn't help but curl her small hand. Then she saw Shui walk up to Zhou Xian, stuff a piece of candy into his hand and comforted him emotionlessly. Be good, don't cry. Xianxia. It seemed like something was not quite right. Chapter 720. The girl wasn't the only one who found this scene strange. Shui's words instantly caused an uproar in the live streaming room. Huh? Shuringdi, there's something wrong with you. Black-bellied best actor x pitiful sword cultivator. DBQ, I can do it again. Although I know this D***M man is jealous and doesn't want Sister E to give him candies, I still feel like I've bumped into him. Zhou Xian looked away and said stubbornly, I don't need anyone's pity. If his voice had not been sobbing, perhaps this sentence would have been more convincing. Shui said indifferently, why should I pity you? Do you think Sister E is also very pitiful? Zhou Xian subconsciously retorted, I didn't. In my eyes, you are Sister Yi's opponent, an opponent worthy of respect. Victory and defeat are common occurrences. Why should we be bothered by temporary gains and losses? And in Zhou Xian's eyes, the man in front of him was handsome, noble, cultured, and elegant. His temperament was as warm as the spring breeze in March. Every word he said seemed to touch the bottom of his heart. This brother was such a nice person. He subconsciously let down his guard and muttered, Miss Xiang, you've made me understand today that I'm just a frog at the bottom of a well. She's a mountain that I can't climb over. What was even more terrifying than the attack was the dimensional reduction attack. You struggled with all your might, but the other party only took out a small piece of paper, and it was more crushing than Mount Tai. Shui smiled and gave him a heartwarming speech. You're still young and have a bright future. How do you know what you'll be like in the future? The naive young man who had been obsessed with swords since he was a child had no idea what Shui was thinking. This little brat is really annoying. I understand. Zhou Xian lowered her head in shame and clenched her fists tightly. I won't give up. One day I'll challenge Miss Xiang again. What brother meant was that as long as she worked hard, she would have a chance to surpass Miss Xiang. It was true that listening to a wise man's words was better than studying for 10 years. The youth felt that today's harvest was too great. Not only did he realize that there was always someone better than him out there in terms of swordsmanship, he also felt enlightened in terms of thoughts. The way Zhou Xian looked at Shui gradually became bright and full of worship. That, your sword. Xianxia picked up the broken sword and said apologetically, I'm sorry. How about I give you a wife? Shui was confused. Everyone, ? Sister E, what kind of dangerous statement is this? Zai, mommy won't allow you to two-time. No. So, is Sister E planning to compensate her brother with herself or Shuringdi? Little brother. Only children make choices, I want them all. The livestream room was bustling with activity and the number of views was breaking records. Someone edited the video of the battle between Xianxia and Zhou Xian and named it, Contemporary Swordsman Online Battle. It instantly became popular and received more than 100,000 likes. In addition, the interactive clips of Xianxia x Zhou Xian and Shui x Zhou Xian also became popular. There were now 2 more evil cult couples. At the martial arts center. Zhou Xian said embarrassedly, It's all right, I'm not as skilled as her. How can that do? You have to compensate her. Zhou Xian pursed her lips and said, If Miss Xiang insists on compensating, then... Someone shouted, Compensate me with a husband. Everyone burst into laughter. Zhou Xian's face turned red and she waved her hands repeatedly. Oh no. Chapter 721. Someone continued to kick up a fuss. Sister E, compensate him with Shui. With a sullen face, Xianxia grabbed Shui's hand and said fiercely, No, he's mine. She looked especially adorable when she was being serious, and she instantly won the hearts of her fans. Kawaii. My daughter is so kawaii. Hey, she's declaring her sovereignty. She's the domineering Xianxia today. Is it popular to lure dogs in and kill them now? If I'm guilty, the law will punish me instead of letting me watch them display their affection for each other. The tips of Zhou Xian's ears turned red. I don't want anything else, I just want a promise from Miss Xiang. Xianxia was stunned. Zhou Xian said, I want Miss Xiang to promise me that you'll compete with me again in the future. His eyes were full of anticipation as he bowed deeply to Xianxia. Please. Xianxia was speechless. This child has to change his habit of bowing at the drop of a hat. Sure, you can compete with me as many times as you want. Xianxia said good-naturedly, as long as I'm free I'll keep you company. Zhou Xian was extremely excited as if he had won 5 million yuan in the lottery. At this moment a discordant voice sounded. How much longer are you guys planning to stay here? The displeased voice came from Master Yan. He felt that Xianxia and Zhou Xian had stolen all the limelight from him. Zhou Xian was shy as he bowed and said, Sorry to disturb you. Xianxia called her uncle and the others to leave. They're finally gone. Master Yan grumbled. They've seriously affected the progress of our class. Okay, everyone pack up, I'm going to start today's lesson. The person in charge of the live stream almost vomited blood on the spot. When Xianxia and the others were around there was still some traffic in the live stream. Now that they had left, the traffic plummeted. In less than 2 minutes the traffic was already so bad that it was impossible to watch. Is this Master Yan a fool? Who wants to watch him in class? Everyone wanted to watch Xianxia and Shui. However, it was too late. After Xianxia and Shui left, the number of viewers in the live streaming room decreased. Most of Great Master Yan's disciples didn't cooperate with him like they usually did. Instead, they looked at each other and exchanged glances. After a while, people in the crowd spoke up one after another. Well, I just remembered that I still have to pick up the kids. I'll leave first. By the way, I heard that it's going to rain today. I have to hurry back and pack my blanket. My stomach doesn't feel well. Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. In the blink of an eye, at least half of the crowd had left. Master Yan's expression changed greatly. He forced himself to remain calm and pretended to be profound as he said, Some people left not because I didn't want them to stay, but because they pursued the wrong path. I believe that those who stayed behind are all sincere in their desire to learn our Yen school's legacy. Can I get a refund if I don't want to learn? A sloppy disciple asked. Master Yan glared at him. Are you betraying your sect? I don't want to learn anymore. What's wrong with asking for my tuition fees back? The disciple retorted. Someone immediately responded, Yes, refund. Hurry up and refund or we'll call the Consumer Association. You can teach whoever you want. Anyway, I don't want to learn from you. Master Yan's vision darkened and he almost fainted on the spot. He was filled with guilt and regret. If he could do it all over again, he definitely wouldn't find trouble with Xianxia. At the same time, outside the Martial Arts Center. Chapter 722. Considering the large number of people, Xiang Feng arranged for a bus. On the bus. All the Taoist masters got on the bus. The onlookers were amazed and took out their cell phones to take photos. Sister Yi is really impressive. She actually managed to invite so many Taoist masters to help her. Little did they know that it wasn't Xianxia who invited them at all. It was the Taoist masters who took the initiative to come. At a private restaurant. The manager of this restaurant and Xiang Feng were childhood friends. Today he specially cleared the place to receive Xiang Feng and the others. The weather was good, so everyone sat in the courtyard. They lit up the lanterns and the light was hazy. There was a gentle breeze and the fragrance of the lotus flowers wafted in the air. The audience found it enjoyable to watch the live broadcast, as if the rhythm of life had slowed down. Xianxia and the Taoist masters discussed the talismans. Due to the thin spiritual energy, the talismans did not have much of a reaction. They existed more as a cultural symbol. In addition to discussions, they also drew on the spot. Xiang Feng looked at his little niece who was like the moon surrounded by stars and happily discussed with Shui beside him. Look at little Xianxia. Doesn't she look like she was forced to perform in front of the elders during the new year and was forced to open for business? Thinking of the past, Shui smiled. He remembered that one year when the young lady came to pay New Year's greetings, she wore 2 ponytails and sang softly to the elders. He was so adorable. The crowd burst into exclamations from time to time. Amazing! It's amazing! Xianxia can actually draw so many talismans in one go. She's really amazing. Sigh. I suddenly realized that I'm not only lacking a hand but also a brain. On the other side, Shi Yu and Zhou Xian sat side by side eating milk candy. Zhou Xian looked at Xianxia from afar with admiration in her eyes. She sighed softly and said, Miss Xiang is so amazing. Shi Yu said coldly, she has a boyfriend. Zhou Xian said, I don't want her to be my girlfriend. Shi Yu chewed on the candy and said expressionlessly, my uncle has a girlfriend too. Zhou Xian was speechless. Little kid, are you misunderstanding something? The sword is his wife. I have many swords. Taking advantage of the fact that there was no one around, Zhou Xian straightened his chest and showed Shi Yu the photo of the sword. He showed off a little childishly, this is my first wife, second wife and third wife, Shi Yu said. Brother, you're such a playboy. Zhou Xian corrected him. This isn't called being a playboy. Having a lot of girlfriends is called being a playboy. Shi Yu said, then you can have a girlfriend. Zhou Xian said seriously, no, women will affect the speed at which I draw my sword. The conversation between the adult and the child was completely recorded by the camera. In the live stream, everyone was amused by Zhou Xian's words. Haha, so his wife is a sword. Let the two little brothers keep chatting. I won't be annoyed even if I watch it for a day. What the F***, CK? Women can affect the speed at which I draw my sword? Brother, you're destined to be alone for the rest of your life. At this moment the store manager came over to apologize to Xiang Feng. I'm sorry, there are 2 chefs on break today. Plus we have a lot of customers here so the kitchen can't handle it all. It might take a little longer to serve the dishes. Are you short of a chef? A voice as gentle as the sound of nature rang out. The store manager replied without hesitation, of course we're short of one. But it's not easy to find one. I happen to know how to cook a little. The store manager turned his head and made eye contact with Xianxia. He didn't watch the live stream and was extremely surprised at this moment. Miss Xiang, you actually know how to cook. Chapter 723. He had heard of the Xiang family's tradition of doting on their daughters. Shouldn't the little girl who's the apple of their eye be pampered and live a pampered life? Xianxia smiled and said, it's just a hobby of mine, so I spent some time studying it. The pop-up comments in the livestream were neat and tidy. It's nothing, Sister E only knows how to cook a little. The store manager said cautiously, then, I'll have to trouble you, Miss Xiang. He looked at Xiang Feng, afraid that his friend would disagree. To his surprise, Xiang Feng's eyes lit up and he exclaimed, Little Xianxia, I want to eat fried chicken. The store manager was speechless. Could it be that the rumors are false? Okay. The young lady was very polite and courteous. After greeting Daoist Ren and the others, she went to the kitchen. In the kitchen, the head chef was giving instructions to the chefs under him. Due to the lack of manpower, the kitchen was a little chaotic at this moment. When he saw Xianxia coming in and heard that she was going to cook, the head chef immediately flew into a rage. However, he couldn't flare up because of the live stream. Miss Xiang, right? I'm sorry, but there's a lot of smoke in our kitchen. I don't want to dirty your clothes. Please wait outside for a moment, the cold dishes will be served soon. Xianxia said warmly, I see that you guys are too busy. Is there anything I can help you with? I can even cut and stir-fry vegetables. The head chef was full of disdain. This female celebrity probably only knows how to cook tomato scrambled eggs or something. She just has to show off on the live stream. My kitchen is not for people like her to gain fame. When he spoke again, the head chef inevitably said in a sarcastic tone, we don't have enough manpower. At most, the dishes will be served a little slower, but if Miss Xiang scalds your hands and scalds your face, we can't afford to take responsibility. Xianxia blinked. She wasn't someone who didn't know the ways of the world. On the contrary, she had seen countless people of all shapes and sizes in the world she transmigrated to. She just couldn't be bothered to socialize. Sensing the other party's resistance, Xianxia did not intend to persuade him. Her deer-like eyes looked around and landed on a deserted area. Can I borrow the kitchen utensils over there? She was referring to the workstations of the 2 chefs who were on leave. They had stoves, pots and ovens. The head chef said impatiently, Since Miss Xiang insists, I have nothing else to say. You can use any ingredients and condiments you want. I just hope that Miss Xiang will pay attention to your safety and avoid any accidents in the kitchen. Xiangyi nodded calmly and walked to the workbench to familiarize herself with the kitchen utensils. The head chef looked over and saw her tossing the pot and shaking the ladle. He complained softly, "You're just putting on an act. Not to mention the others, just those few pots alone, the lightest one was 3 to 6 caddies, while the biggest one was over 10 caddies. This was just the quality of an empty wok. After adding the ingredients, the weight would increase. Moreover, there was also a method called tossing the pot, which was usually done with one hand. A normal person's dominant hand was their left hand. An ordinary person's wrist would feel sore just by holding it, not to mention tossing it frequently. She was such a delicate and weak little girl. With her slender arms, wouldn't her arms break if she were to toss the pot? The head chef lowered his head and busied himself with the dishes. When he finally finished preparing the cold dishes, he instructed the kitchen staff to serve the dishes and inadvertently glanced at Xiangyi. In an instant, he was dumbfounded. Who could tell him why that young lady tossed the ladle so easily and casually? Moreover, she used the biggest and heaviest pot. Chapter 724. The head chef wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded. The others were also dumbfounded. Oh my God, this girl is too strong. How did she manage to cook so many dishes in the blink of an eye? Why does it feel like she's more efficient than the few of us combined? The head chef's expression changed and he became gloomy. He was originally the sous chef of a 5-star hotel, but he was poached by the manager of this private restaurant. The benefits he received were very good. Over time he couldn't help but become a little lazy. For example, his cooking speed had dropped a lot. Fortunately, there weren't many people in the private restaurant, so it wasn't obvious. Now that he had Xiangyi in comparison, he seemed too slow. The audience watching the livestream also noticed it. Damn. Is Sister E an octopus? She's so fast. She's really good at planning. Damn it, if I had such a brain, would I still fail my math exam? Do you guys feel that the other chefs are cooking so slowly? Xiangyi has already cooked a few dishes, but they're still making cold dishes. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but now that you mention it, it's really... they're not as fast as Xiangyi. In order to regain his position in front of everyone, the head chef said with a cold expression, "You two choppers, hurry up. Don't dilly-dally." Although he was urging, he didn't forget to remind Xiangyi, "Don't blindly pursue speed. After all, we're a high-end private restaurant, and the dishes must be exquisite. If you cook in a big pot, the customers will be very disappointed." The head chef was still very confident in his seasoning and plate presentation skills. After all, he had been doing this for decades and he had some real skills. However, when 2 cooks came over to serve the dishes, they each brought one for him and one for Xiangyi. Coincidentally, both of them were making a salad with assorted vegetables, and the dishes they chose were similar. They both included tofu skin, carrots, potatoes, cucumbers, enoki mushrooms, lotus roots, and other ingredients. The head chef's plate presentation was arranged in a circle, and each dish took up a spot. He even used carrots as decorations. Although it was exquisite, but the aesthetic was slightly rustic. Xiangyi arranged the dishes in a Tai Chi pattern. The ingredients on the bottom layer were shredded, while the ingredients on the top layer were diced. Peanuts and sesame seeds were sprinkled on top. It was simple, but it was ingenious. For some reason, it looked better than the head chef's dish presentation. "This little girl is quite pretty. Yeah, the colors match so well. It's so harmonious." Everyone admired the strong, and the chefs were no exception. They couldn't help but praise Xiangyi. This compliment angered the head chef. "What do you know? Do you work with your hands or your mouth? Hurry up and cook." Everyone immediately fell silent. However, by the time the chef had finished his 3rd dish, Xiangyi had already finished her 6th dish. She also made some soy milk boxes and pudding and put them in the fridge for dessert. Xiangyi calculated that the dishes were enough for a while, so she poured a pot of oil and started to make fried chicken. When she first started making the cold dishes, she had already marinated the chicken. Flour, starch, egg, honey, and other ingredients were mixed well. She threw the tender and juicy chicken into it, rolled it around, and soaked it in the oil. Sizzle. The unique sound of explosives was transmitted to everyone's electronic devices through the top-notch sound recording equipment. Chapter 725. The audience was going crazy. Ah, I'm swallowing my saliva like crazy. She's releasing poison in the middle of the night. I was planning to go on a diet, but I've already opened some perverted apps. I'm different from you guys. In addition to the fried chicken, I've also ordered barbecued prawn shell and milk tea. At this moment, the first batch of fried chicken was almost done. Xianxia scooped out the fried chicken with a colander. The skin was crispy and light yellow and the camera zoomed in on it. The grease could even be seen dripping off bit by bit. Everyone. How is this a lifestyle variety show? This is a food variety show. After drying the fried chicken in oil, Xianxia fried it a second time. This time, the color of the fried chicken turned into an appetizing golden yellow, and the skin became scaly. It looked even more delicious than the ones bought from fast food restaurants. Xianxia used a large wok to fry a lot of fried chicken in one go, and she got someone to bring it out. In the courtyard. Perhaps by coincidence, Zhou Xian and Ren Daozhong sat together. The two of them talked about swordsmanship for a while, and it seemed that they were kindred spirits. Zhou Xian held his little wife, the spare sword in addition to the broken one, and said seriously, "In this world nothing is more important than my sword." The audience in the live stream automatically interpreted his words as, "In this world nothing is more important than my wife." Then, the fried chicken was served. The domineering aroma instantly silenced the noisy courtyard. Even the Daoist masters, who were usually indifferent to good food, suddenly felt a little hungry at this time. Xiang Feng laughed wildly. "Our little bunny is so obedient." He picked up a large drumstick and handed it to Shi Yu as per the usual practice of the Xiang family. The little boy took it, feeling a little flattered as he stared at it in a daze for a long time. He took a whiff almost greedily. "It smells so good." Xiang Feng put the other drumstick into the rice bowl in front of him. A glutton's soul, a glutton needs a basin to eat. A life without a bowl of rice is a life without a soul. Ren Daozhong chuckled and took out his own wok. The two of them looked into each other's eyes, and suddenly there was a feeling of a hero cherishing another hero. "Hee, my brother is steady. He's comparable to my third son. Ah, so there are people in this world who have the same thoughts as me." He was not alone in this Dao. As for Zhou Xian, the hand that was holding the sword couldn't help but tremble slightly. Damn it. Why is Miss Yang's fried chicken so tempting people to commit crimes? In particular, Xiang Feng, who was sitting at the same table, had already begun to eat heartily. A certain domineering Xiao had no care for his image. His mouth was wide open, and with one bite half a drumstick was gone. Crack. Under the crispy skin was the tender and juicy chicken meat. The combination of the two created a simple little happiness. Xianxia also used the condiments in the kitchen to prepare ketchup, honey mustard, sweet and spicy sauce, sweet and sour sauce, garlic sauce, and several other sauces to satisfy everyone's needs to the greatest extent. The piping hot fried chicken dipped in sauce really tasted amazing. Even if it was junk food, he would accept it. How could delicious junk food be called junk food? It was called happiness. Zhou Xian desperately used all his self-control to resist the temptation of the fried chicken. However, the iced Coke that Xianxia brought over was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The young man couldn't hold it in anymore. He subconsciously let go of his sword and grabbed a chicken wing. Ow! Chapter 726. The young man's concubine fell to the ground. The people at the same table looked at him in surprise. This kid, didn't he just say that swords are the most important thing? Zhou Xian's 5 senses were all focused on the fried chicken. The young man's eyes went from shock to daze. The crispy skin, tender meat, and hot fried chicken paired with cold cola were so delicious that it made him want to swallow his tongue. There was actually something in this world that was more blissful than collecting wives. Zhou Xian felt as if a mysterious door had opened in front of him. The netizens also saw the process of him smelling good and smiled. Brother has vividly shown us what it means to go from resistance to surrender. Zhou Xian, I didn't want to eat and drink, she gave me too much. Are you sword cultivators all so casual about throwing your wife away just like that? This is simply abandoning his wife and child. Sai, is this the distortion of human nature or the decay of morals? The lights were gentle and the courtyard was filled with a fragrant aroma. The bluestone tiles in the courtyard were as clear as water. Occasionally the wind would blow and blow a few petals off the trees. Even if they fell into the vegetables, it didn't dampen the mood. Xianxia sipped her cola and secretly used a pair of tongs to pick up a piece of ice, but her wrist was grabbed by a pair of warm hands. Your period is coming soon, isn't it? Shui leaned against the back of the chair and bent his long legs lazily. Didn't Sister E say that ice is cold so we should eat less? Xianxia was a little guilty but she was still stubborn. Chili is hot, I'll eat more spicy food later to neutralize it. Shui raised his eyebrows. Oh. He didn't say much and simply stared at Xianxia with a faint smile. His entire silhouette seemed gentle under the light, but it couldn't hide his sharp and fierce aura. The ice melted slightly and a few drops of water dripped into the small bucket. Sigh, this is the trouble of being in love, right? Xianxia thought to herself. She felt that there was one more person controlling her now. The little girl reluctantly let go of his hand. I'll drink room temperature, she whispered, her voice a little muffled. Shui rubbed her little head and turned off their microphones. She leaned over to the girl's ear and whispered a few words. His hot breath lingered on the girl's milky white neck, and his thin lips were almost touching the girl's reddened collarbone. This scene was enough to make the untimely couple fans go crazy. I announce that they have consummated their marriage. It's born. It's a big fat boy. *T I was there. She's clearly a cute little girl. Help, the fans have turned into idiots and are showing signs of spreading from person to person. No one knew what Shui said, but Xianxia blushed from her collarbone to the tips of her ears. Once the distance between them was increased, the young girl's soft white fingertips lightly pinched his ears twice. It was so hot. Shui's words kept repeating in her mind. Xianxia felt sweet, but he was so shy. The uncle next door suddenly said mysteriously, "Does everyone know that if you eat fried food often your face will get pimples?" Perhaps because he was too serious, everyone at the table subconsciously became serious as well. Pimples. Shut up. Blisters from excessive heat. Even the viewers in the live stream curiously joined in on the speculation. All of their curiosity was piqued. Xiang Feng let out a cheerful squawk. Of course it's a smile, huh? Everyone was speechless. Seems like there's nothing wrong with it. Chapter 727. Today's live broadcast ended amidst laughter and cheers. The Daoist masters had their wishes fulfilled. After dinner they bid farewell to Xianxia one after another. Before leaving, Daoist Master Ren specially added Xianxia into their group chat. Dozens of added messages appeared on Xianxia's phone. She accepted them one by one. Her phone buzzed for a long time before it returned to silence. She rubbed her sore eyes. After some treatment her myopia had recovered, but it would still hurt after looking at electronic products for a long time. Don't rub it. Shui held her hand and pulled her into his arms. He gently massaged the little girl's temples with his fingers. Xianxia closed her eyes and couldn't help but moan in pleasure. A certain best actor paused for a moment before returning to his normal pace. At the side, Zhou Xian was still eating fried chicken. This child had eaten so much that her stomach was bloated. You looked at Shui and Xianxia curiously. The way they interacted was a little strange to him. His parents didn't have a good relationship. You children shouldn't always watch others show off their affection. Xiang Feng patted Shu's shoulder and said in an experienced tone, "Otherwise you'll only be a single dog when you grow up." Shu asked innocently, "Grandpa, why don't you find a grandma?" Xiang Feng sighed. "You don't understand. I clearly want to find one, but every time I see a girl I don't want to socialize. Wanting someone to accompany him, but also wanting to be alone. This was the trouble of modern adults." Shu said, "Grandpa, have you ever thought that your thinking is too narrow? Why do you have to have requirements about gender?" Xiang Feng, ? A child's words carry no harm. It must be a child's words, Shu continued. It's also possible that someone else has a request, but Grandpa, you didn't fulfill that request. Zhou Xian chewed on a chicken wing and puffed up her cheeks. "Little brother, what you said makes a lot of sense." Xiang Feng. Were all the little brat's words so hurtful these days? Every blade was stabbing into his heart. "Do you believe that I'll spank you?" Xiang Feng rolled up his sleeves angrily, but when he saw the muscles on Zhou Xian's forearm, even though he was skinny, he looked strong. Xiang Feng silently pulled his sleeve back up. "Don't misunderstand, he wasn't a coward. Follow your heart and let nature take its course, understand?" The production team held a meeting, and after the meeting, Li Jinyu came to the courtyard with a small notebook and briefly told Shui and Xianxia about the guests that weekend. The two big names that we've invited this time were something that we've fought hard to get. One of them is a legendary singer and the other is an international dubber. However, there are rumors that the two of them are not on good terms. This week's livestream might not be easy to do. I'll have to trouble Sister E and Daddy Sure. The two of them expressed their understanding. After talking about some topics related to the program, Li Jinyu looked at Xiang Feng. After all, Xiang Feng was the big boss of Xianxia livestream and the biggest sponsor of Two Under One Roof. Li Jinyu felt the need to suck up to his boss. President Xiang, do you have any objections? Xiang Feng wiped his mouth and revealed the standard devilish smile of a domineering Xiu. Do you have enough money to spend? Li Jinyu, it's enough. With Sister E around, we've saved a lot of money. Save what money? Spend it. Don't come looking for me if you can't spend it all. Li Jinyu. Using money to insult me? So what? In the next second, his loud and cheerful voice sounded in the courtyard. Okay, thank you, Daddy. Chapter 728. Everyone couldn't help but laugh at Li Jinyu's obsequious behavior. The crew of Two Under One Roof was basically made up of young people and the atmosphere had always been good. They also had a strong and unshakable core cohesion. Sister Yi's cooking. Other variety shows had a lot of staff turnover, but the crew of Two Under One Roof almost never changed jobs. No one could poach them. Other variety shows are also speechless. We've already offered such a high price. You guys should at least be tempted. Is Xiangxi's cooking really that good? Everyone got into a car and rushed to Little Rabbit Farm. The moment Xiangxi got into the car, a familiar notification sounded in her mind. Ding! The girl raised her eyebrows and communicated with the system in her sea of consciousness. The little system had probably been holding back for too many days and finally couldn't help but issue a mission to Xiangxi. Host, please conquer the male lead as soon as possible. Not only do you have to win his heart but you also have to get his body. Due to the restrictions of the rules, after Xiangxi turned on the shielding mode, the system couldn't speak unless it issued a mission. Although that person had told it not to communicate too much with Xiangxi, it was really bored. Xiangxi was speechless. She increasingly suspected that the system wasn't very serious. In fact, she already had a guess in her mind and Xiangxi felt that it was infinitely close to the truth. She lowered her long black eyelashes and asked, "If I can't complete it, will I be obliterated like Ling Yi?" Her soul, which was also her consciousness, would completely disappear. That was the cruelest punishment. The little system felt a little guilty. Did she find out something? However, the words it said were very official. Host, please take the conquering mission seriously and don't slack off. Xiangxi leaned against the back of the back seat and said slowly, "What should I do? I don't think I can do it." The little system subconsciously said, "How can that be? According to the test, the male lead's affection for you has already reached 100%. Not to mention getting his body, he won't hesitate even if you ask him to cut his heart out." Sigh. You don't understand. The girl's tone was downcast. I just can't get over the hurdle in my heart. Maybe his misogyny has infected me. What? Does the host have misogyny? The little system couldn't understand how Xiangxi got such a disease, but it was just a data flow after all, even though it had artificial intelligence. However, he was still not a real person. It believed Xiangxi's words. Then why don't I discuss it with the main system and give you another mission? The little system coughed. You just have to focus on your career and work hard to become the most popular female celebrity. Here, let's set this as a side mission. It thought that it had thought of the most logical and perfect solution, but Xiangxi instantly found a loophole. Is that you? Or is it you guys? The young girl's question seemed to come out of nowhere, but it shocked the little system. If it had a physical body, its hair would have stood on end. The little system was silent for a long time, trying to play dead. It's okay if it's not convenient to talk about it. I just want to ask, is he okay? Woo woo woo, Ishan was so smart. As expected of the gold medal support who had completed all the transmigration missions. It said weakly, he just exists in a different form. Although she didn't give a clear answer, the young girl's eyebrows still curved. That's really, really great. Chapter 729. Upon hearing her words, the system began to tear up again, although it didn't have a nose. Sob sob sob. Goddessy is so gentle. I actually participated in the plan to deceive her. The little system was rolling around in a sea of numbers. Should I apologize to Yishan? She's such a nice person, she'll forgive me, right? In the manner. Zhu Xinglan tagged along, blushing. Although the young man said that he wanted to ask Xiangyi for advice on swordsmanship, he understood everything. She didn't expose him for the sake of the Shu family. Xiang Feng led him and Shi Yu to the hot spring at Little Rabbit Farm to take a bath. Shi Sui returned to her room to take a shower. As for Xiangyi, she had already changed into comfortable home clothes and switched on the television to watch a variety show. She then hugged Xiao Naofu and little Shiji in her arms. All of a sudden the television began to buzz and black and white static appeared. Afterwards, Xiangyi sensed that someone was contacting her in her sea of consciousness. She closed her eyes and focused her thoughts. At the same time, she also allowed herself to fall asleep. In the familiar space she saw a familiar figure. It was a pale and exquisite young man who was as beautiful as an angel. It was Ling Yi. He was someone Xiangyi knew when she was about to transmigrate. Previously he had once occupied the body of Ling Yi in this dimension to assist Qin Wanyan in her mission. However, he suddenly disappeared later on. Xiangyi once thought that he had been erased by the system. However, she later sensed that something was amiss. Xiangyi tried several times, but the new system that she had bound herself to gave her too much freedom. It didn't seem like it wanted her to complete the mission as soon as possible. Instead, it seemed like she would never be able to complete the mission. She then thought about what Ling Yi had done previously. Xiangyi guessed that the system had something to do with Ling Yi. However, she didn't expect Ling Yi to take the initiative to look for her. Their gazes met gently in the air. The system remained silent and didn't dare to speak. After a long silence, Ling Yi said, "Long time no see, sister." Xiangyi responded calmly, "Long time no see." Ling Yi said helplessly, "I knew you would guess it." However, he also knew that if he used this trick on others, it would definitely be seen through if he used it on his sister. It was only a matter of time. Xiangyi asked gently, "Are you okay?" The young man gulped. Perhaps only his sister would care about him. That's pretty good. Ling Yi smiled. "Big sis, I lied to you. How are you going to punish me? I think you have your own reasons." "Sister, aren't you going to ask what it is? Your matters have nothing to do with me." "So cold." The young man shrugged. "It seems that I've been thinking too much. Sister really doesn't care about me." He had planned so much to show off to Xiangyi. There would also be a, "Look, I've gotten rid of the main system. Am I awesome?" This kind of mentality. But in the end, Xiangyi didn't care about this so-called system at all. Xiangyi looked at him. "Will you be discovered?" Ling Ye's dim eyes suddenly lit up. "Sister, are you worried about me?" Xiangyi said helplessly, "We've known each other for a while. I don't want to see you get erased." Ling Yi said confidently, "No." He emphasized, "Absolutely not." He walked toward Xiangyi. His appearance changed little by little until it finally settled on a young man with black hair and tea eyes. He looked somewhat similar to Ling Yi, but he was more dazzling and arrogant. Chapter 730. Very soon Xiangyi understood what the little system meant by existing in a different form. Ling Yi raised his hand. His forearm, which was supposed to be ethereal like a soul, had turned into a piece of data made up of numbers. Xiangyi's expression changed slightly. "Although you've already guessed it, I still want to tell you how powerful I am now." Ling Yi behaved like a child, showing off his toy to those close to him. "That's right. I've turned into a piece of data, or rather a program." Every transmigration system's wish was to turn from a program into a physical body. However, Ling Yi had done the exact opposite. He had turned from a physical body into a piece of data. Xiangyi did not comment on his choice. After all, she was not Ling Yi. She did not know what he had experienced, what kind of environment he was in, or what kind of mood he was in. "Why do you insist on existing in a human form?" Ling Ye's body kept changing. In this space he had absolute control. His arms were like those in sci-fi movies. They turned into the body of a furry animal, the outer shell of a cold mecha, and some kind of liquid that glowed with the luster of stars. The current me has the right of a god. I can exist in any network in the myriad of planes. Ling Ye's lips curled into a frivolous smile. "Even the main system can't kill me." Xiangyi gasped in amazement. He had actually thought of such a thing, and it had actually come true. You're very powerful. You're a genius, Xiangyi commented. Ling Yi was not satisfied with her mere numbers. He tilted his head as if he was acting spoiled and his eyes curved beautifully. Sister, if you want I can help you. Thank you, but there's no need. Xiangyi was not moved by his offer. I feel that the way I am right now is very good. She had a family and a lover and she was living a peaceful and stable life. Ling Ye's smile disappeared and he carefully sized up Xiangyi. The girl's expression was magnanimous without any pretense. Ling Yi mocked himself. His sister had a choice but he had no choice. It's fine. Since you're not interested now I won't mention it. When you change your mind you can contact me at any time. However, Xiangyi thought of another question. That mission is related to the main system? Or did you just randomly post it? Ling Yi winked mischievously. Does big sister think that I'll hand you over to another man? Are you the legendary oily being in the human world? Ling Yi gritted his teeth and lowered his head dejectedly. Initially he thought that it would be useful to study some romance novels. Who would have thought that it would backfire? He muttered, I didn't do it. It was indeed released by the main system. But, it doesn't matter if I can finish it or not. The plane you're in now is equivalent to a single-player game. Because I've taken advantage of the loophole, the main system won't realize that we've gone offline. So that was the case. However, she still had a question. Is my world really a book? Well, that depends on what elder sister thinks. To big sister this is your world but to others this is a book. There is no conflict between the two. Xiangyi was deep in thought. After a moment she said calmly, You go surfing. I'm leaving. Bye-bye. She ended the dream and opened her eyes. At a glance she saw the man in a black bathrobe looking at her with a faint smile. Chapter 731. The warm lights flowed like water, pouring down in torrents. Xiangyi's heart skipped a beat, but she forced herself to remain calm. Are you done showering? As soon as the words left her mouth, she regretted it. Why did it feel weird? Shui rested his elbows on the sofa cushion and took off his sunglasses. His peach blossom eyes were darker than the night outside the window as he stared unblinkingly at his little bunny. Aha! Xiangyi was a little embarrassed by his stare. She picked up Xiao Naofu and stood between the two of them as if this was the only way to feel safe. Xiao Naofu's icy blue cat eyes widened. Meow meow meow. Is this Hu a tool tiger? Shui raised his hand and scratched Xiao Naofu's chin twice. Xiao Naofu's heart refused, but the dog man's stroking was too comfortable. The kitten even began to snore. This was the peak of a tiger's life. Not long after, Xiao Naofu softened into a puddle of cat biscuit and lay in Shui's arms, calling out coquettishly, Meow meow, Xiangyi, did you fall asleep just now? Shui was multitasking and naturally found a topic to talk about. Aha. Xiangyi nodded. Ahem, you forgot to fix your collar. Let me help you. Shui was wearing a black silk bathrobe. The style was loose but his belt was loosely tied, which resulted in his collar was mostly open, revealing his fair skin from his collarbone to his chest. Xiangyi was like a worried mother fan. She raised her hand to fix Shui's collar, afraid that his skin would be exposed. Her slender wrist was clasped by the man's large hand, and a steady stream of heat was transmitted to her. Shui chuckled. How do you know if I forgot or did it on purpose? Xiangyi froze for a few seconds before gradually coming to her senses. Her face instantly burned. Did her boyfriend mean that he did it on purpose? For her to see? Shui looked at the little girl's flushed cheeks and her head was almost smoking. She lowered her voice as if she was bewitching a demon, but also as if she was purely discussing scientific knowledge. Do you want to know what abdominal muscles feel like? Boom. To little Bunny this was simply beyond the limits of her shyness. She was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on as she shrunk to the other end of the sofa. No, I don't want to, she said in a tone that did not mean what she said. However, Shui still asked slowly, You really don't want to? Ugh. Xiao Naofu saw that the stupid woman's face was as red as a shrimp and was very puzzled. Weren't they just abs? What's the big deal? This Hu will touch it for you. Hence. She lifted Shui's bathrobe with her furry paws and pressed them on his well-defined abs. Meow. Xiao Naofu poked it curiously. Hey, it's completely different from the stupid woman's fragrant and soft body. Sister E, it's said that pets follow their owners. You cat are acting like a hooligan, Shui said with a lazy smile. Xianxia waved her hands repeatedly. No, no. Let go. In a moment of desperation she blurted out, all of them. Shui's dark eyes narrowed. Xiao Naofu, however, became playful. First, it pretended to obediently move its paws away, then, it curiously pressed below the abs. Meow. Why do my paws feel hot? Xianxia grabbed the blanket next to her and covered her head. Shui's expression did not change. She picked up the kitten and slowly brought it in front of her. Do you want Big Brother to kiss you? Xiao Naofu frantically fluttered in the air. Meow 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 meow. Don't King come over. Chapter 732. Xiao Naofu resisted desperately, but the instigator Shui had a lazy and playful look. His eyes were dark, his lips were pale, and his jawline was smooth and clear. His perfect and noble face was getting closer and closer. Smack. It was imprinted on Xiao Naofu's forehead. Xiao Naofu let out a humiliated roar. Woof 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 woof. I'm dirty. I'm dirty. After kissing the kitten, Shui released its grip. Xiao Naofu seemed to have suffered a huge blow as it looked at Xianxia aggrievedly and barked twice. Xianxia wanted to hug it, but the kitten shook its ears, afraid that the dog would take revenge on it again. It scurried away with its chubby little legs. Little Shiji barked and chased after them anxiously. Not long after, the cat and dog disappeared without a trace. They had no idea where they had gone to hide. Xianxia was puzzled. Did Xiao Naofu hate me? Little did she know that a certain Hu was really scared. All the gifts of fate had been secretly marked with a price. This is the price of being molested by a dog. Is it angry with me? Xianxia began to reflect on her actions in the past few days. Every day she would cook delicious cat food for Xiao Naofu, provide it with some snacks, play with it for an hour and coax it to sleep at night. She would also tell it stories, watch cartoons, listen to music and so on. Was she not good enough? Children have grown up and have their own little temper. Shui said lazily, his hand wrapped around Xiao Naofu's slender waist. With a little force he easily pulled her into his arms. Their posture changed to that of a tall man hugging the slender girl from behind. Xianxi's ears began to burn again, but she didn't push him away. Raising children doesn't seem to be that easy. Not only did she have to pay attention to her diet, but she also had to pay attention to her mood. Don't raise them then, Shui said. Xianxia turned around and asked, don't you like children? I only like Xianxia. Xianxia bit her lips at the sudden words of love. Then she boldly put her arms around Shui's neck. Her soft voice trembled slightly, but it was firm and brave. I also like Shui. Was this a mutual confession? After Xianxia finished speaking, she couldn't help but bury her face in Shui's collarbone. The soft flesh on the back of Shui's neck was completely red. Shui patted her back and comforted her gently. Xianxia adjusted her emotions and soon, the girl returned to her usual calm and steady appearance. I'm a transmigrator with a gold medal as support. What does a few words of love count for? The little girl comforted herself in her heart. Then with a taut face she said in shock, you said it last night. Let's begin. In the courtyard of the private restaurant, Shui turned off the microphone and said a few words to her. That is, the two of them watched a movie together. The kind where they held hands the whole time. In order not to be disturbed, Xianxia had an idea. Let's watch in my room. There was a projector installed in her bedroom. When it was turned on, it could project the entire wall. Shui, who originally wanted to tease the little rabbit, swallowed hard. That's not very appropriate. Yeah. Xianxia hit her forehead and said in annoyance, what if I do something to you? Shui was confused. The temperature of the air continued to rise, and there was a faint ambiguity. The man's low laughter was slightly hoarse. When it entered her ears, it caused a slight itch and tugged at her heartstrings. Sister Eep, I'm bold, I'm not afraid.